is. All right, here we go.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
There you go. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah,
begins in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Core. This is Core episode 267. It is May 27, 2021. I'm Scott Johnson with Bo Schwartz and John Jagger. Sorry about last week. We were gone. I was gone. I was out of town. I took a vacation, which I don't do very often. But
on behalf of everyone, we bid you a collective forgiveness.
Thank you very much. It was fun, but I didn't play any video games while I was gone. And it kind of sucked because when I left, I had just started hacking my way into, playing Mass Effect 2 Legendary Edition, part of that trilogy release, and was really cranking. And then when I left, I'm like, oh, I don't want to. Now it's all I'm going to think about is Mass Effect. And sure enough, all weekend, I just kind of pined for it. I missed it. I missed my,
Did you walk around everywhere hearing? Beep, boom, 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 boom,
no,
beep,
but
boom, boom,
I walked
boom,
into this
boom,
coffee
beep,
shop
boom, boom,
and I
boom,
went,
boom.
this is my favorite coffee shop on the Citadel, and they got mad and kicked me out, so that was no fun. But,
Oh,
Man,
we
when
should
I
have
was
given you
playing-
a discount.
yeah.
When I was playing Witcher 3, all I could hear was the what's that? The Velen music, wind's howling, but it's that sad like
Oh yeah,
violin or something just everywhere. Or no, I'd be listening to it and then it would get stuck into my head, and everywhere felt sad and depressing. Like a beautiful road with nice trees all of a sudden felt like, oh, who's a murderer on this road, and what sort of nasty things are going on in people's basements, and
yeah,
everyone's poor.
yeah. No, Velen's gnarly, dude. No one wants to live in Velen. That's great. This gross place to live.
Anyways, a game can really get in your head if you really want to play it.
Yeah.
And you can't play it.
That's what
all you
happened
think
here.
about.
That's what happened here because what I did is I beat Mass Effect 1, the remastering, that is, in the first weekend. So I really hauled ass through it. And honestly, it felt shorter than I expected. But I also didn't do a ton of side stuff because I knew the goal here was, hey, Scott, you never played the first one. Do you want to take the Mako out and find every little piece of ore or something? No, I don't. I just want to go in and I want to experience that story that John's been talking about for all these years, telling me how it might be his favorite of the trilogy, and all that. And I wanted to experience those early things that I hadn't seen before, having only played 2 and 3. And for whatever reason, my memories are strongest with 2, and of course, no memory of 1. Now so many things make sense. Plus, a bunch of characters lived or got talked to or had things done quest-wise or whatever that brought them forward. So I got to see and experience a bunch of that I didn't have my first time through 2, which is a lot of presumptive sort of, do you remember me? And I can say yes or no, and that's about as good as you can control sort of your previous experience with those people. But in this case, I got to experience some of that fluidity of game to game that they were so famous for. So that was really cool. And then I had to leave, and that sucked. So I think by that point I had unlocked Garrus. Well, I'd seen Tally, but I hadn't recruited her yet. Who else? Morden. I may have gotten the Grunt by then.
Was Morden in the first one?
No, second. But that's how far I got in the second.
You're talking about 2. You're recruiting in 2. Okay.
So when I left, I was just
Question.
finishing the Morden business. Yes.
Because there's that there's that bar.
Yeah.
That Hive of Scum and Villainy, their version of it.
Yeah.
How'd you get in?
Oh, right, because there's that backway red room thing. Trying to remember. The first time I played 2, are you talking about the bar in the first game or because the first game didn't
in the second game. The second game,
the
like
bar.
your main hub is not the Citadel, I think, as so much as there's like an evil Citadel.
Afterlife. Yeah.
Afterlife is the place. And
So
there's
Go to Omega and
in my mind, the most memorable moment happens. One of my favorite 2. I have 2 of the most memorable moments. One of them happens there, and I've only done it one way, the Renegade way.
Uh-huh.
And I was just curious if you're going Renegade or Paragon. I was asking you a sneaky question to find out what your playstyle was by how you got into the Afterlife.
Sorry, I'm going to play this Afterlife music. This is me walking in there going, yeah, I'm trying to talk to, what's her name? Bluefish Lady. Where's she at? Oh, she's up on the thing.
Arya.
I wouldn't talk to her.
Arya T'Loak.
Arya, she's trouble. She's got a Q on her back, which made me think of QAnon, which kind of pissed me off. But whatever. I'll go talk to her and get some shit done. And then she gave me all kinds of stuff while I watched silhouetted ladies dance against the lights. So that was nice. But yeah, this is that
Well,
music. Isn't that cool?
My favorite moment is punching the bouncer to get in. Or you just like, you tough guy. They're like, you need something, you need credentials or blah, blah, blah. And you just punch him. You're like, you're letting me in.
Yeah.
And they go, okay. And that was, that was, at the time, that was a very new experience in the game. I don't think I had an NPC interaction quite as fun as that, getting the Renegade thing pop up so early.
Well, this is my problem. I never go Renegade. I always go Paragon if I get a chance to, or unless I really feel, well, you know what I do? I don't play it strict. It's not like, I'm never pulling that left trigger ever, whichever one it is. Maybe it's right.
No. Sometimes you're like, oh no, I gotta go Paragon.
Yeah, I gotta go.
It's the right thing to do. Or
right.
I like this character. Like sometimes you'd be like, I would do what I want, but then I'm with this character who would value the fact that I would act in a way that's according to them. You know, I wouldn't want to like overstep. So then you make a Paragon decision, or vice versa in those cases.
So that's what I did. Yeah. I make those decisions kind of as I go, and I've never punched the dude. So I guess I got in. But there's also, I thought you were talking about like which way did you get into the bar physically? There is like a back way.
Oh, there's a sneaky way? I didn't know. I went in through the front door. I said, you're going to let me in. They said no, and then I punched them and they let me in.
There's some sneaky back way.
I've never experienced. It's the only way I know how to get in.
Now they may still yell at you there. I can't remember what happened. Something happened there. And my memories are now blending into my first playthrough, which is why I really don't want to leave town. I wanted to stay and keep playing so I could just kind of keep the momentum going and all of that. But I got to say, I think John's right. That first story is awesome. It's really good. They did fix a bunch of stuff in that game, but it's still janky. It's still got problems.
It's better, but it's still rough.
You're right. And it was nice when
still Mass Effect.
Yeah, either way. But then I launched 2.
It's no Doom Eternal, like controls wise.
Right. But then I launched into 2, and it's a lot better. Like just 2 was in general, like not just even speaking of this remake. One word of warning though, by the way, if any of you are running this on an HDR capable device and television, in my case, I'm playing it on Series X with a TV that'll do 120 frames in HDR. Something about that combination of settings. Anytime there's a holographic presentation, like the lady telling me where to go in the Citadel, or talking to forgot the name of it, that weird entity later in the game. Whatever it's called. I sent you guys a video of it.
The Vigil or whatever his name is.
Yeah, it goes into full throttle freaking seizure blinky blink during those moments. And there were times where I'm really into the dialogue, but I had to hold a pillow over my head because it was giving me such a headache and making me so disoriented. I had to hold the thing over my head until it was done. And then
it looked like you were playing in pitch black, right?
So the room was pretty dark, yeah. But it's really,
it doesn't
really
help
blinky.
when there's flashes.
Really blinky. Anyway, I just have to think if anybody has actual sensitivity to that and ends up with seizures or whatever, they probably would have there. But
yeah, there should be a warning on that. It is more intense than it was for sure. I think that's a case of a lot of things. The HDR definitely, because I didn't have HDR on when I got to that point, and even without it, I was like, oh, I don't remember it being this intense. But Scott's right. There's a lot going on with this guy that I don't remember being there when I played the first time.
It's pretty strange.
And I think part of that too is Mass Effect was a very dark game originally, and so that probably wasn't all that bad. And now that everything's been lit a little bit better, it's just it's intense. Intense little
It
stroke.
Definitely is. And I have a ton more to say about it, but go ahead.
I was gonna say we need to get your Mass Effect 1 checklist. Who didn't make it out of Mass Effect 1?
Rex died because What's-Her-Bucket shot him, and I didn't have the stats to charm her out of it, basically. Whichever one that is, I forget. But I didn't stat up enough to do it. And I didn't know it was coming, and so I kind of liked that he died because... Well, here's the other thing. Because of the way I was running through this game, I wasn't doing a lot of side stuff. The way I did the first game anyway was sort of like, well, I really like Garrus and I really like Tally, so guess what? You two are with me all the time. So let's go. Like, you're my companions for this run because who cares? Like, I'll just use you guys. And so I never actually did a single mission with Rex at all. Nothing. Some dialogue here and there when, we're back on the ship or whatever, but never a single mission with him other than the one where we get introduced to him. And So when he got shot, it was just like, oh, well, okay. I mean, I had no relationship with the guy at all.
Yeah.
So he was dead, and I was pissed at what's her beak for shooting him. What's her name? Ashley. Because she's just a cocky a-hole and was always making me mad. At one point, I was in the basement of the ship, and I was talking to her, and I was like, so, I was doing some of the romantic things on there, and I go, so, maybe we could go out later. I don't know what it was in the dialogue wheel. And she says, Captain, I'd really like to keep things professional here on the ship, if that'd be okay with you. I'm like, okay, fine, that's cool. So I back up.
Down.
She shot me down, but then later she's Joe Bob McGillicuddy flirt monster to me. And I'm like, well, no, wait a minute. You were weird down there. Now you're not weird. Like, what are we doing here? So I said,
well, that's because she was fighting her impulses at first.
I guess so.
She got weak and was like, well, maybe.
She annoyed
That's
me.
what made you mad? You propositioned her?
It wasn't that.
Like,
no,
and then
I don't
she's like, well, okay, maybe. And you're like, hypocrite!
She shot me down. She's a hypocrite. Yeah. I'm going to leave her next to an atomic bomb. That'll show her.
Part of it was just her. I found her character, and I just kind of found her annoying. Like, she annoyed me.
The humans are boring. I mean, even in my opinion, all the humans are boring compared to aliens.
There's not a good I don't think would be Jacob, a controversial statement. None of the humans in Mass Effect are good, and any single one of them could die and it would be fine and not a big loss for your squad.
I like
I don't like a single one of them.
I like Amanda. No.
Miranda.
Sorry.
Miranda.
Yeah.
Nah, she can go.
She's fine, and the reason I like her is totally disconnected from the game because I know who that is, and she's on Handmaid's Tale, and she's fantastic on there. She was on that. Forgot the other show. Another show.
She was on Dexter.
Dexter for a bit. She's great. The Jovinsky or whatever her last name is. She's a Australian chick. She's a great actress. And I like her, so when I see her, I go, that's right. I know who you are. So I kind of spend a little time with her. But now, even in 2, I'm still mostly palling around. Well, Garrus default. He's always with me. And sometimes Tally now that she's with me, and sometimes who's the other one I like? Oh, I'll play with Grunt now because I think I like Grunt better than Rex. But again, I barely know him. I barely knew him. So when she walked up and went, pop, pop, I went, if there's a chance for you to be left for dead, you're dying. I looked at her and said that in my own heart because I knew she was going to be out of this story. And so when it came to, we got to make a decision, Captain, save me or the other guy. Either way is cool, whatever. And I went, well, you're dying. So we're saving Zippy over here, who I don't care about either. But I saved Zippy and she died. So
is it possible to save both of them? I think.
Is there?
No, one of them dies for sure. Like they're a guaranteed death is one of the two.
Yeah, she deserved it. So she's dead.
There's very few guaranteed deaths in Mass Effect, but that's one of them.
So if Rex lives,
I think I let her live when I played through.
If Rex lives, could I have partnered around with Rex and Grunt at the same time?
No, he's not recruitable in 2 or 3, but I will say there's a amazing scene in a piece of DLC called Citadel, where you throw a party and both Grunt and Rex show up, and they literally stand around a couch together, and they go, Shepard. And she goes, Grunt, and then it goes to the other one, and he goes, Shepard.
Oh, shut up.
Rex. And then they just say each other's name in a round robin, and it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's
now
one of the greatest.
Objectively speaking, it is a mistake to let Rex die overall.
Well, I mean, okay.
just meta speaking, it's not a mistake that you played the way you wanted to play. That's how the story goes.
Right.
It's just, and you got to remember the game. When it was just Mass Effect 1 and there were no sequels, like you're like, I want to keep Rex around. He's the only Krogan you know. He's cool. I don't know. It's
here. I went ahead and gave you the video, Scott, and I even though it pains me, it's default male Shepard just to make you feel comfortable. I want you to step outside your bubble here, and so you'll find it familiar.
By the way, you guys think dragon beef is bad? Shepherd beef is bad.
Shepherd beef is on another level.
Yeah, we've had a real back and forth on shepherd beef. I see him as dude shepherd, and that's all I can picture, and I can't. I
Yeah,
can't
you got
help
a
it.
couple of femships on the show, so
I know I'm
you're
up against it
outnumbered.
here. I get it.
I'm like, oh, default Shepherd.
I roll when I role play. I
the
role play as a
humanity.
dude. I'm always a dude. I can't help it. All right, here's the thing. Here, I'm gonna play it. Oh, there's no sound. That's a bummer. Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
I like dudes too.
I'm
Just
drinking.
femship.
But it's not a drinking game. Afraid to lose?
Okay, he sits.
Shepherd.
Grunt.
Shepherd.
Rex.
Commander Shepherd. Shepherd.
Rex. Grunt.
Shepherd. Shepherd.
So
Shepherd.
what's gonna there's the end of it. What's gonna happen to me then when I get to that? And
You can't invite Rex to the party. He's not alive.
So just be Grunt. And maybe let's say something like, I really wish you saved my dad, Shepherd.
yeah. Well, chat room makes a good point. Ethan Winters is the best character in Mass Effect. Oh, I'm sorry, he's not in it. He's in something else. I'll talk about that later. Anyway, just to kind of sew things up, and we can talk about this as much as we want, but I think that the transfer on this thing, like the high def upgrade and all that business, looks fan-freaking-tastic, runs really well. Like I said, I'm running at 120 frames per second. I think that might only be the Xbox version. PS5 version is at least 60, so either way, it's not going to be that different. But it's just a really beautiful version of the game. I don't feel like I'm playing something old, except for one has plenty of weird moments of like, ooh, we don't do that anymore, or ooh, that transition feels like something you would have fixed, polished, and put out later, or whatever. But here's the controversial statement. I'm going to keep playing through 2. I'm gonna do what I do, and I'm gonna enjoy the hell out of it because I already am. I forgot about what's her name. There's always Captain. You've got some mail at your freaking terminal. What's her name? Becky. Broomhilda. What is it?
Is it Kelly Chambers?
Kelly Chambers. She creeps me out. All right, I'll go to talk to her, and she'll go, Captain, I was really happy to hear that we did Zubba Zubba with the thingy thing. And she'll just have like a normal comment. And I go, yeah, we feel pretty good about what we did, or whatever Shepard will say. And then it'll go back to her and she'll go, oh, I just get these weird warm feelings in my groin when I think about the hard work you guys are. Like, it's the most porny ass freaking porn dialogue from her. And I'm not even tweaking the options to get her to do it. She just starts talking.
She's trouble. Kelly Chambers.
Yeah, I feel like
Chambers.
I'm messing with somebody. I don't want to talk to her. It's kind of like, ugh. I feel like I'm gonna. I don't know what's gonna happen here.
She's a real problem. I always felt that while they never overtly said it, I always felt like she was an inside person for the overseas man. Like she was there to stir the pot. Like she was not there to make things good. Yeah. There's also an inside joke just because I was so entrenched in Mass Effect stuff when it was coming out. Yeah. There is a rumor at some point that a STD is going around the ship, and in general, the general consensus is people believe Kelly Chambers is responsible for its appearance on the ship.
That's pretty good. All right, I'm not the only one then. I feel better about this because I remember when I played it the first time through in 08 or 07 or whatever it was. I remember thinking, she's weird. I don't like her very much. She'll let me know.
It's called Scale Itch.
Is that what it is? Scale Itch. Okay.
See, I'm telling you, anybody that thinks I made this up, Bo found it in a second. It is a
I just did an image search, and there's like quotes. They put quotes near people.
Yeah.
And this is one of the quotes. It's like her face, and it's like, if there's any touching being done, you better be involved.
Yeah.
Kelly Chambers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the stuff she says.
Okay. Well, you go up to her in 2 and you go, hi, I'm Commander Shepard. I'm being in charge of the ship. It's a pleasure to meet you. And she's like, from the moment we met, I knew that if I fell backwards, you would be there to catch me. And you're like, what world is this an acceptable thing to say on the first meeting you have with somebody?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
It's a little much. I don't like her. So she's not on the list. And I don't even know if I'm going to spend that much time with any of the romantic stuff because I'm not that interested. What's driving this for me is first of all, I really actually do like the gameplay of 2. I think the shooting is so much freaking better, and the introduction of like the heat heat sink gun mechanic, which basically is just a reload, but I like that. Just kind of changes things up, makes you have to play a little smarter, that sort of thing. It's harder. 2 is definitely harder than 1. I breezed through 1, never died, just ripped through it. 2, I've died 3 or 4 times in boss fights and stuff, and it felt right. The kind of deaths I had were like, oh, okay, I got to come around the other side then and not do that too fast or whatever. I actually had to think about it. Whereas the other one was like, get me through the combat. Beep, 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 beep. Hurry up, hurry up. Like I couldn't be super bothered with it. The other problem with the first game, just a little side note, it's a technical note, I think, but it must have been true with the first game because as far as I know, they just transferred it directly. But Garrus is whispering. He never says anything I can never hear in that game. So you'll be in the same elevator with him, and Tally would go, you know, we need to go get the thing with the stuff. And she's super loud.
Hang on. Man.
But then he'll go, yeah, that's probably a pretty good idea. Like that. Like he's this little mumbly dude. And I'm like, that's not Garrus. How is that possible he talks like this? And sure enough, in 2, he's fine. He's loud and the audio in general is better.
I had that problem in elevators in 1, but I had it with everybody, not just Garrus. Anybody talking in elevators was quiet in 1 for me. And it's been that way since I played it on the Xbox 360. For some reason, it's like the positional for the volume for a lot of characters is off.
Yeah.
And Garrus is definitely noticeable. I tend to run with Garrus and Liara, and both of them have that problem. So it could be that some characters have it and others don't. But yeah, they get real whispery in the elevator for some reason.
Yeah, it's weird. And it's just really pronounced in the first game. Anderson looks real weird in the first game. Looks great in the second. I'm sure that was true back then.
Got some work done.
He got some work done, and he's great, of course, as a character. I'm loving
David,
it.
right? That plays him.
Yeah, Keith David is great. He's always great. Freaking so
great
good.
Choice.
So many great voices. Some of them I forgot were in this, like the dude down at CSEC, Colonel Ty on BSG. I can't think of his name all of a sudden. Michael Hogan. He's in it, and he's great in it. I wonder how he's doing. He had that nasty fall and got hurt real bad recently.
I think did he pass? I think.
I don't think so. I think he's
no.
still
I don't think
around.
he passed. I think he's recovering.
Yeah.
I contributed to that, and I got an update recently, and it was a positive update. I thought. I don't know, but
yeah, I don't think he's passed. According to IMDb,
IMDb has a born date, not an end date.
An amazing role in season 2 of Fargo. Guy's just awesome. But he's in it. He's great. Like there's just every once in a while you hear a voice and go, wait a minute, I don't remember them being in this. You look it up and like, oh my gosh, I forgot Lance Henriksen was in this as Colonel whatever. In the first game, you never see his face. Second game, you get some video with him. But freaking Bishop, dude, he's so great. Just you, Lance Henriksen, he could talk me to sleep right now. He could walk in here and go, Scott, you're feeling tired. And I'd go, and fall over dead. He's amazing. Anyway, had a great time discovering all of that again. Can't wait to play 3 and finish it out with my storyline. Now, here's the controversial take, which I've been taking so long to say anything about. I will then turn around and for the first time, and apparently this would be the time to do it, given what I've heard about its current, build status, I'm going to play Mass Effect Andromeda without any of the baggage of its launch issues, without any of its technical problems, story problems, or anything else anyone says about it. I'm just going to play that game, and I'm going to play it raw ass play it. And the reason I'm going to do that is because, A, I want more Mass Effect, and B, what I've been told is, yeah, if you go in there expecting a big extension of the Shepard lore, you're not going to get it. What you get instead is almost like Star Trek-y smaller stories. And that's actually my favorite part of the game, which is why I think I like 2 so much better than 1 so far. And trust me, 1 was awesome. Amazing overarching story. But what I like about 2 is it's a lot of separate stuff. It's a lot of like, hey, if you want Tally to really be your friend, go help her with these 3 missions. Or if you don't do that, that's all the companion missions are so cool. And they feel so separate to me that I want more of that. And it sounds like Andromeda will at least give me some of that in this world that I love and do it in a relatively recent generation sort of spec looking, decent looking game. And so I'm doing it. I'm playing Andromeda after this, and there's nothing anyone can do to stop me. That's what I'm saying.
I think you should. I'm one of the biggest critics of Andromeda, and I think you absolutely should. I think everybody who likes Mass Effect should try it.
Yeah.
I don't think they should pay full price for it. I think that game is a pretty big disappointment that I completely beat. I played that full game and kept waiting for it to really impress me, and it never did. It controls better. It looks great. The combat is fantastic compared to previous Mass Effect games.
Yeah.
There were a lot of bugs, like no doubt about it. Facial tweaks, weird things where enemies would just like crouch and then stand and then crouch and then stand, and you just watch them like do a little dance. Like, I don't know how much of that stuff has been fixed. I just think the biggest problem with that game is, one, the characters are kind of like they did the same thing that the characters always were. It's like, hey, here's an Asari archaeologist.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, I've seen that before.
Uh-huh.
And it's not as good as Liara.
Okay.
Okay, here's a Krogan that's a big, tough badass, but he's not as good as Grunt, and he's not as good as Rex.
Okay.
Here's a Turian that's going to be like your buddy, kind of no-nonsense buddy, but she's not very cool compared to Garrus. Like, she's no Garrus.
Okay.
Like, they just kind of one-for-one give you what you've already had, but not
so it's
better.
the Star Wars sequels, basically.
Yeah,
Kinda,
sort of.
yeah.
Like, it is kind of suffers from that. And the other big thing is it's the same problem that I had with like future Halo games once we got past Halo 3, where it was like they hit this story beat where it's like, we're going to put you in a new galaxy. Everything's going to be new. It's all going to be fascinating and great and wonderful. And check out all this new alien stuff.
Yeah.
And there's 2 new aliens, which are really kind of just one new alien. And other than that, it's everything else that you've already seen before.
Yeah.
None of it's new and different. And it's like, well, it's not really exciting me for exploration when it's literally exactly the same. And
Yeah.
like, we went out there to discover what was new, and there wasn't any new stuff, and all that stuff you liked from before, none of that's here either. Because, you know, Scott, I don't know how you feel about Quarians, like Tally.
I love Tally.
They're not in Andromeda. None.
What?
0.
There's less.
Well,
They
they're all
talk about them.
They're probably
So
all
it
going to
sounds
die
like
because
watching Star Trek Voyager, and they go to the Delta Quadrant, and then
Yeah.
it's all just Klingons and Vulcans, but no Romulans.
It is kind of that. You're
Okay,
not
yeah.
wrong.
Because I played
And
the prologue, and like, so I haven't gotten to it. I dipped my toe in it, and I'm like, okay, I met the bad guy aliens and saw humans. That's all I've.
Are
saw
there any
so
Vorcha
far.
in there? Any Vorcha?
There's a big like diarrhea blob in the above the planet. that-
Sweet.
like, when you warp in, there's like this weird brown shit in space, and you're like, oh god, what's going on? Like, you crash into it, and then you crash on a planet looking around.
Diarrhea blob.
Like, so far it seems good, but what you're telling me is this Voyager with Klingons and Vulcans and no Romulans.
The thing that made me the most frustrated was you got the impression very early on, especially, I mean, again, I was a big fan of the Quarians. Tally's one of my favorite companions, so that was something that I was like kind of thinking about going in. And they talk about them a lot because the idea is that they sent over these like arc ships, which with a bunch of the races and stuff on it.
Yeah.
But the one that had the Quarians and the Solarians on it disappeared.
Yeah.
Like, it never made it through. And you start to think like, did they just not want to model Quarians and Solarians? Did they just run out of time? And there's a part in the game where you go into a place where they have models of all the races,
Yeah.
like along the wall,
Yeah.
to like teach you about their history. And I was like, well, maybe you'll at least be able to see one there. And you go in there and the hologram's fizzling, and they go, oh yeah, the Quarian hologram isn't working for some reason. And you're like, they didn't want to model them. That's exactly what happened here.
Yeah,
Like,
it sounds like
they don't
maybe.
even put them up in a friggin' hologram in the game. Like, it's just dumb. And Chad's saying they were supposed to be in DLC. Yes, the game ends with a big to be continued of like, we're gonna go find that ship,
Yeah.
but it's never gonna pay off, you know?
Yeah. Did
And
they ever
so
do? Did they do
I-
DLC? That never happened.
No, they never
didn't
did.
do it?
I think they
The
should've
game
just-
was received so poorly, they focused on fixing bugs and never doing anything with
Okay.
that
They
story
anthemed
ever
it.
again.
Yeah, they anthemed it. There you go. That's perfect, though. I think I'm gonna do it though for just the. I'm just super curious now because I'm now basking in the world in such a way that I sort of didn't through the first one. It's funny in the second one, the thief. I forgot her name. Kasumi. I never recruited her in the first time through that game. Never saw her before. She's brand new to me. So
Yeah.
don't ask me how I did that, but I never went there and saw her, never filled that slot. and didn't do any of her story business. So that was new game for me entirely.
Well, she was DLC, so maybe you just
Is that why?
Yeah.
Yeah, her and there's a bounty hunter too.
Okay, her and the dude down in the basement next to the incinerator thing. That guy is also DLC, right? With the one eye.
Zaid,
Yeah. Okay, now it makes sense. I never saw those two the first time through, and I thought, well, who the hell are these guys? Now it makes sense. So that DLC was like, play the game again and try these new people. Was that how that worked? Or what?
I think it was
much.
pre-order stuff, or maybe Zaid was like there was some like pre-order bonus stuff going on with that. I think.
Okay. Well, then
I don't remember.
It was really
yeah,
fun.
Mass Effect 3 also had a really like major DLC character, like a character you're like, really? This is something you have to pay for without getting? Because that's where you get the Prothean who joins your team. He was a DLC character.
There's a Prothean that joins your team? I didn't know
yes.
that.
You have to have the DLC to get it. It's huge.
Yeah,
like
huge.
It really changes everything.
It almost seems like a bad idea because they're such terrible, they're horrible. You're trying to kill them.
Chat room says, Tally in the chat says, Zaid was a pre-order, Kasumi was bought DLC, Javik in 3 was PLD, paid DLC, Javik's the Prothean. So
Javik is amazing, and he obviously, because he was a Prothean, he has a lot of very interesting insight to everything that's going on.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, he was. You had to pay for him, or you didn't get him on your team.
Well, even cooler then, because this trilogy includes all DLC. So, I'm stoked to hear that. Actually, I'm very excited to keep going. So anyway, I just love it, and I know John, you a little behind me, I think on total playthrough, but you beat 1 again and started 2. Anything to add about your?
How'd you get in the afterlife?
I haven't gotten to Afterlife yet. I'm very, very early in 2. We've just gotten our human squad together, and we're hanging out. And actually, I just got the Normandy. That's where it ended.
Oh, the new Normandy. Okay.
Normandy. Man, that opening to 2 is good.
It's
I just
really good.
I want to remind everybody for a moment how good the opening to Mass Effect 2 is, because you want to talk about like just like what are we doing? Like the opening to that game after playing through Mass Effect 1 is shocking. And I remember the first teaser for Mass Effect 2 was just a bunch of debris in space, and then talking about Commander Shepard's accomplishments, and then changing Shepard's status to killed in action and a bloody N7 logo. And I was like, are they going to kill Shepard in the sequel? I'm going to be furious if this is what they did.
Yeah, they did, but then they just put some weird glowy scars on him and gave him right back to you. I'm sorry, her. You got her right back. Right. I was really okay. This was part of my plan. It didn't work out because I was wrong about how it worked. I thought memory had served me that if you played 1 as Dude Shepard, and then 2 starts, you die, and they bring you back with Cerberus technology, and then they let you do a ton of customization at that point if you want, because they're bringing you back from bones, right? And so
you can,
so you can choose to, and it lets you. It says you want to use it. Basically, says you want to be Shepard before, Shepard from the last game, Shepard, or you want to be this reconstituted thing, and you can choose. I thought it also let you say, "Well, I'm coming back as a lady." I thought it did, but it doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't let you switch the gender.
No,
you can just change your.
They should have. That would have been really cool if I could have said, "All right, well, I had my share of supermodel Billy Bob in the last one. Now I'll see why everyone raves about."
I mean, maybe if they made it in 2021, that's probably a little too early for those sense, because then Garrus would have to be like, "Hey, how are the boobies? Like,
how are the boobies?
You like your
that's the thing.
How are you liking being a girl? Like, somebody's gonna ask about that, right?
Yeah,
like,
I would have
I'm
to.
thinking about the narrative implications on it. Like, it's kind of fascinating. I feel like there should be like, Shepard wakes up and is like, I'm not saying like upset about it, but like you would have questions if you were like, well, I died in space and I came back and I was in a very different body.
They could have done it. They did this in Deep Space Nine. Freaking Dax and her, her.
It could be done. It's just it's because one of the things that's super impressive about Mass Effect is the branching story, right?
Yeah.
You make decisions that impacts things. You'd have to write more. Romance might be weird. Like, I don't know if is there a romanceable character in one that you could romance it's two, and then so make love to them as a man, and then make love to them as a woman. Like
I don't know.
Right. So
You
if
know,
you
it
hooked
would
up
just-
with Ashley, you could do that in 1, but then she wouldn't be romantically available in 3.
Yeah. Well, she's literally not
theory.
available.
Yeah,
for me
I
at
mean,
all, so.
well, maybe, because Ashley's such a bigot anyway. She probably wouldn't. Like, she'd be like, "Oh, you changed your gender."
That's
gross."
the other
Like,
thing
she
I didn't
probably-
like about her. I hated how she
She's
was
pretty-
a total bigot. That's another reason I
she's
didn't
a
like her.
bigoted character for sure. And anyways, but they would have to write that in there too, like that whole discrimination. Maybe you're like, okay, I didn't let you die in the first one. Now I'm going to throw out an airlock in the third one or something like that. Like there's just a lot more there, and their heads probably. I don't think they. It's just I imagine if you're making that game today, you'd probably think like look at how Cyberpunk turned out. That game didn't intend to be. Not that I want to inflame this conversation, but I don't think they set out to be the end all be all of a game for a safe space for LGBTQ, all that kind of things.
Right.
There was gender bending in the game, and they touch on it, but they probably there's a lot of controversy leading up to that game, and they had to make changes for it. I imagine if you're making Mass Effect now, that kind of stuff would also come out. Like, well, like exactly what you're saying.
Well, that is something that's actually in the news right now, which is the fact that a lot of modders are adding romances back to the game because the game has locked audio files, because there were a lot more same-sex romances in Mass Effect that they kind of buckled to pressure and didn't include at the time.
Interesting.
So they didn't exist, but a lot of audio files and things like that exist for it.
remember
So
that
modders
now.
are now
Yeah.
unlocking that. And so it's definitely a case of they were clearly, wanting to push it further than they were able to then. So I feel like if they were going to redo it now, maybe that's something they tackle, but that's
Such a powder keg for a giant corporation. Hey guys, what do you think would be best for our shares? Like, should we go transgender? Should we stay away from it?
Should we possibly address this and maybe mess it up and make things worse for us? Or maybe we just don't. If you picked a male shepherd, you get a male shepherd.
I mean, the answer is always like, we'll bet on getting it wrong, so why make the attempt? And that's what most video games do, right?
Yeah.
They're just like, unless it's super duper safe and a consultant's been, triple checked everything. If they're trying to be risque and take a chance, there's the catastrophe if they miss. The PR nightmare is probably.
I mean,
too
I'll
great.
acknowledge, just for anybody hearing this, because I know we have some trans listeners and stuff like that, but we are not the right people to talk about.
Oh no,
this.
we have no idea.
But
We have no idea.
I will also say, you look at something like Lev in The Last of Us Part 2, which was a character that they wanted to do respectfully. They had a consultant come in and talk to them about it. They were told areas that they thought there would be pushback. They were told what they were doing right, and that still wound up being a very controversial thing. Like, it's a thing that even when you go through certain channels, you kind of can't say, oh, well, there's a 100% guarantee that this is going to be fine. Like, it's just not something that's that cut and dry.
Right.
And I think that it's unfortunate to some degree, because I do think it makes people go, well, let's just err on the side of not acknowledging it or not touching it. And I think that's kind of a bummer too, to feel like, well, you get no representation because it's too controversial to try.
Yeah, it's almost
But
worse.
at the same time, I also understand where that becomes the outcome.
Sure.
So
my big thing
rough.
is, like, just from a mechanic standpoint, because this is funny. I hadn't thought of any of that. All I was thinking is, oh, now I can just switch over and see how Jennifer Hale does the job, because everyone keeps telling me how great she is.
We took it way too far.
Like, no,
Like,
for real, that was all I was thinking. But now I realize that it's much more complicated. It's not a decision that EA could have made simply, nor could, or BioWare rather, and nor could anybody on the corporate level or even now. Like, I get that it's far more complex, especially in a game where everything's about, you made a decision before, and then later we're going to bring it up again, because this impacted this, and therefore you did this, and that's the game. That is the Mass Effect through line, which is one of its strengths. So you're not just to ignore the fact that there has been a massive change to Shepard and that he's a lady now. You couldn't avoid that. Now, the thing I do hate about that choice is that when they say, you want to customize? And I go, sure, why not? The default's like this guy with lamb chop hair and like a mustache and he's bald. Like, maybe a little closer to what he looked like before. I'm not going with this.
It should let you unlock more fabulous options. Like if they had the... Because I think I said this in our chat, we were talking about it. Like Mass Effect has a B-movie aesthetic. Like everyone's kind of fugly in a certain way, and maybe it's just the limitation of the graphics. Like there's no fat, like there's no clear, there's no one that looks like what's his name. There's no Brad Pitts in this, right? There are no Henry Cavill. Like you don't look at any character and go like, oh my god, like not even Miranda. And I think it's just the graphic engine they use. Like everyone
probably.
just looks a little like. Yeah, they're hot, but they're kind of B-movie hot. Like it's just it carries through. So then you're given this opportunity to enhance your body. You figure maybe at that point you'd be given some video gamey, like, do you want super like highlights in your hair? Do you want naturally green hair, not dyed, but green pigmented hair? We can do that in the science fiction future.
Sure.
Do you want 15 eyebrows? We can do that. And
like the guys
when
in
we
2.
resurrect you from the dead, we can give you some new options.
What are those guys in 2 called? The name of the what's the race with the multiple eyes stacked on top of each other?
Oh, the Batarians.
I hate those guys so much.
Oh yeah, they're ugly.
Them and the Vorcha. They can
They're
go
nasty.
fly off to their own planet and shoot each other. I freaking hate those guys. Ugh.
Yeah, the Vorcha. I thought I didn't like Batarians, and then they introduced the Vorcha, and I was like, oh, whoa, turns out I'm space racist in a completely different way.
Totally, dude.
The Vorcha are bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Vorcha.
If they put a Vorcha companion in the game, I would have been like, we're done. Like,
I'm leaving him down in engineering and never talking to him again. Yeah.
They were the worst.
It's a fun thing to see again, and it's fun to know that they are brewing something new with that teaser we got last year. What was it? Tally picking up some armor out in the middle of some planet.
No, Liara.
Was it Liara? Oh, I couldn't remember who it was.
Yeah, and N7 armor, so could be Shepard.
Could be Shepard.
Who knows?
Could be Shepard. But here's the thing: like, whatever they do there. I think the opportunity to focus on the aliens is something that I hope they do moving forward, because I'll say this, the graphics in those games, the facial stuff, it's not great. It's still pretty good, but in its time, maybe groundbreaking. But today it's their lip sync's not great. The teeth look weird. It's kind of rubbery and weird. But it's not when Morden talks, and it's not when Tally says something or does things. She's mostly just blinking, but with her little light down there. But you know what I mean? Like when they do aliens, that stylization works. Garrus looks fine when he talks. Like it's just enough weird that it doesn't end up with the uncanny valley. It's just all the humans look like a bunch of broken robots. Yeah. It's really weird.
Well, there's a reason everybody crushes after Garrus and Tally, and these characters. Nobody crushes after the humans in that game. They're all like, "Ugh, that's not a good-looking human." No. Yeah. Then you got Garrus, who in theory would be like, hugging on a crab or something, but everyone's like, "Yeah."
No, I banged Garrus.
Ah!
Of course.
I played FemShep, and I went,
You went full Garrus.
What do they call it? Cisgendered or whatever.
Is it because he's, ribbed for your
I mean, they don't really get into it technically. It's not The Witcher.
No, although I do like that the Garrus, Shepard romance. They have to figure it out. There's a lot of dialogue of, how's this gonna work?
Really?
Yeah.
I never did any of that stuff in the game.
Like I wondered if because he has such sharp angles. Like he looks like he's kind of got a shell. I'm like, is his penis like a sword? Like what? Like
shing.
Is it soft or is it actually hard and maybe dangerous to human equipment?
Did they have?
They didn't really get into it, but they did. I guess they did comment. It's been a while. Yeah.
Well, I did. Okay.
Yeah, there is dialogue as they try and figure out how it's going to work. They don't get in depth. He doesn't go, "Well, Shepard, my sword is a penis." They don't do that.
Oh, my penis is a sword. You mean?
My bad.
Just had to correct you there. It's important.
My sword is a penis.
That's cyberpunk. I literally have a dildo that I hit people with.
There are more like them, but this one is mine. That whole thing. Anyway, all right. Enough about Mass Effect. It was great, and I realize I jumped way ahead on reviewing it, but if you are thinking that if it's been long enough and you kind of don't remember a lot, or you're just so fond of it, you got nostalgia for it, or even if you just want to see if a game for 3 games and all the DLC is worth $59 and runs as beautifully as it does, I think it's one of my favorite things I've spent money on in gaming this year. Really, really freaking enjoyed it.
It's been a joy to get back,
Yeah.
and the changes they made are good. I do want to throw in one more change. They fixed seeing Tally's face in the game.
Oh, right. The photo.
One of the interesting stories that came out of Mass Effect 3 was, everybody wondered if you were actually going to get to see Tally, and there's a part where you get a picture that's supposed to be Tally outside of the suit, and it was some Getty Images model that somebody had just crudely photoshopped over the top of her.
Yep.
And they were like, yeah, that's Tally. We did it. Everybody, good job.
Yep.
That has been replaced with something a little more authentic and original instead of just something they downloaded from a stock photo website.
Yeah. It's nice. It's a
You
nice
can
touch
see them
because
doing that with a Miranda or something, but this was like a 3-game build-up to like figuring out who she was, and it was like, oh, we didn't think of that. Like we just grab something off Google image search, they won't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's a one. I guess I read an article about it, and they, literally paid Getty Images for it. You have to with that stuff, or you get, that's illegal to otherwise. So they paid for some image, and I'm like, well, you guys got like artists there and stuff. Like you made the whole game here, a whole series of games.
That's what I mean. It was like, it was literally probably a week before they went gold or whatever they do when their games go gold. They're like, did anyone think of what Tally looks like? And they're like, oh shit. All like 200 developers are in a meeting going like, how do we forget this?
Yeah.
What do we do?
Yeah, oh man, I love her. I love her character so much. But anyway,
I think it's one of those things too where I don't know. Sometimes it's better that you never see it in that Pulp Fiction briefcase kind of way. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I like to think there was an internal debate about that, where you would never see her face because it's an imagination device, and video games in particular are guilty of trying to show you everything that they often forget the power of just not showing certain things in that way.
Yeah, it's like
the abstractions.
What is it, like Vera on MASH, or not MASH, Cheers? Norm's wife. You never saw her. You just knew that she was there, and she had this. She was like,
I mean, it's a dramatic device, and that this is a dramatic text inside a video game.
Yeah. And I can think of other examples, maybe because they were the end of their trilogy, it didn't matter so much, but there are other examples out there of when you break that rule, things go south. Like, not to keep it into sitcoms or even the same genre and or spinoff sitcom, but it always drove me crazy. On Frasier, Niles and Daphne had this amazing many-season tension between the two. She didn't know how he felt about her, and he constantly was pining for her, and it just added to the story, and it really made those characters interesting. The minute in later seasons they have them finally figure out they like each other, and now they're together, I could give less of a shit. Like, I'm just like, that's an old example.
And with The Office, Jim and Pam, they're interesting until they hook up.
Same deal, yeah. It's another good example.
Because the thing about this is that, like, she's Tally's, like, her race is like hot stuff elf people. Wouldn't it be more interesting if you fell in love with this person with the mask and they took it off and looks like an H.G. Geiger, barfed on a plate and made a human face in it? Like, like that. Then you'd be, well, I love you, but I don't love how you look. Oh no! Like, at least there would be a good story behind that. I feel like so. I
like that
they really also played it the same. Don't worry, that person in a mask you like is really hot by human standards. Not to worry, everyone.
Yeah, don't worry.
It's cool.
It's only a science fiction game, but we wouldn't do you like that, It's like, just hit on Ashley if you want a human. Like, why is Tally got to look like?
Yeah, and save your emails, by the way. We know it's HR. We know it's HR Giger, not HG Geiger. But I just want to put that out there.
Okay, some letters. Who cares?
So
HL Geiger, whatever. It doesn't matter.
HL Geiger.
So wait a minute, I do have a question. If Bo was a romance Garrus guy and Scott was a romance Tally guy, does that mean you guys didn't know that Garrus and Tally hook up if you don't hook up with the two of them?
Well, I
Oh,
never
no, I
hooked
don't
up.
think that-
I never hooked up with them, so I don't.
No,
I
I don't think so.
I guess I don't
They
know
have
that.
they have a romance thing if you're like they couple up and spin off into their own
Yeah.
show.
Their own
catch
show.
you catch them calibrating together on the Normandy if you don't romance either one
Wait,
of them.
in their
That would be
suits and
nerve
their
wracking.
and his-
Garrus's chin could crack her mask open.
Well, that's
by
what I'm
accident.
asking. Like, is she okay? Is he in his big dumb suit with the way too big neck hole that he wears constantly?
They're light hugging. They're not like pounding it out on the below deck of the Normandy. They're just hugging, and you walk in on them, and they are very awkward and cute about it.
In full view of Jack, who wears leather straps for boob holders. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's a family.
Jack pisses me off. Anyway, the point is, that game's great. Those games are great. It's a bygone thing. Especially for its time, it's an amazing thing with a lot of staying power, and I can't wait to play more of it. And
Yeah, I think I'm going to dive in.
Yeah,
All
that's
this
great.
Mass Effect talk has
I know it's wet your
made me
whistle.
It's wet my whipple.
Your nipple, yeah, your whipple and your nipple, both are wet.
My
And
nipple whipples.
oh, I should say, the other reason to play Andromeda is, I've got it on Game Pass. It's costs nothing, so
Yes, that's a
Just
good
go-
reason to do it.
yeah, just gonna play it. I in fact installed it already, so that when all this is done, I'll just roll over there and give it a crack and see what I think. All right, we should probably do some of this news here.
Great, dude, this week.
Yeah. This is a long intro.
hour.
Segment. Yeah. About an hour of talk about Mass Effect. I think it deserved it, so I don't have a problem with it.
Whatever. Yeah, it's a big event.
Let's talk about a few things going on. There's no Blizzcon this year. It's been confirmed. They're not doing it later this year. They said there'd be some sort of hybrid event early on in 2022. I don't know what that means. Probably a little bit like their digital event they had earlier this year. Maybe combined with some remote stuff. Who knows? They didn't get any details, but a full-blown event is not happening. And a lot of U.S. people are like, boo, we totally could do it this year. It's high enough vaccination rate, this and that. And I believe that they probably had the place reserved and probably were thinking and looking forward to it and probably took a look at their international situation, which they are an international draw. This isn't going to be just U.S. attendees. And a lot of the world is not ready yet. Like there is we're getting real comfy down here about our vaccination systems here in the States, but it ain't like that everywhere. I've got people and friends in Europe that are in full lockdown again because of outbreaks and spreader events and other stuff.
Variants and that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it's
too.
bad. So until it's great, then I wouldn't take that liability or make that commitment either. I'm not shocked by this at all. People are reading into it too much. Oh, this is just another sign. I'm like, no, it isn't. This is just them making a very smart business decision. They make money with this event, and they'll lose money by not having it. They know that this is not the time. So I'm fine with it. Like, do your digital thing again, maybe 2022 end of the year. Maybe then it makes sense. You'll also have more to
We
say.
just say, I'm disappointed.
I mean,
That's
yeah,
it.
that's
Like,
okay.
Do
Just
we
be
have to
disappointed.
also add in the whole, like, all the other BS? Just say, like, I'm really sad about this.
I agree. That's how that's exactly, because my thing is like, I was actually looking forward to seeing my friends this year, and now I'm not, and it's okay. Maybe I'll see them in another way or another format, or I don't know. A lot of things that involve international sort of gatherings just aren't happening. So it just is what it is until it isn't.
I'm getting my first shot next week.
Ooh,
Finally.
You're gonna get it in the left arm or the right arm? Not that it matters.
I don't know. I just booked the appointment, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, everyone. Anyway, not that we need to get into it here, but everyone's talking about the vaccine. Which vaccine is it? What do you do? Blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, I don't care. Just stop talking to me about it. I'm gonna get the shot, and then we'll be done. It's just not that I have anything against it. It's just boring. I'm just like, I just don't want to talk
You're
about vaccine.
bored. All right. No.
I just
feel
don't want to talk about vaccine. Just give me the vaccine. Let me move on with my life.
I agree. I'm with you. That's how I kind of
I have
felt.
no idea anything about what it is. It's just next week, and I can't wait. I think.
Yeah. Well,
Hopefully it doesn't hurt.
Looking forward to it. Dead by Daylight 2. No. Sorry. What am I thinking? I'm thinking of that other thing they talked about today. The other zombie
Dying
game.
Light.
Yes. That got talked about, and they showed a bunch of stuff. Anyway, and that's coming out this year. But that's not what we're going to talk about here. Dead by Daylight, this like symmetrical horror thing where one bad guy chases the five of you around. You try to escape game. is getting Leon S. Kennedy, Jill Valentine, and Nemesis from John's favorite video game, Resident Evil 2 and 3. How does that feel, John? Do you feel like they've been listening to you? They're stoked to get you into daylight?
I don't feel like they've been listening to me, because it's certainly not who I would have picked if they were listening to me. It's got Leon, so we did good.
Yeah.
We are 1/3 of the way there. But Jill's fine. Jill's fine. Nemesis, I mean, clearly they wanted something that's going to be tentacly, and I guess that's going to be Nemesis. I would have gone with Mr. X. I feel like he's way cooler than Nemesis, but
that could happen though.
Me.
Plus, they skin those guys. They get skins, so they'll probably just skin them to Mr. X or something.
Yeah, and that'll be fine. And also, it's the remake Nemesis, which I don't like. He's got the weird side nose.
Yeah,
I kind of like my Nemesis noseless, but they do a lot of skin stuff, like you said. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be in there. It makes me want to play Dead by Daylight. I want to be Leon. It gave me a survivor I actually care about, because that's the thing is I see that game and I'm like, I just want to be the killer all the time, and it's. Like, oh, really? You don't want to play as Jason, the lumberjack who's wearing flannel and running away? Like, no, that's not exciting to me. I want to play as the killer.
Yeah. You picked on a random name that was unfortunate.
I know. I realized that as I said it, and I was like, shit.
Name like Jason
I could have picked literally any name, and I went with one that's actually a killer.
Yeah, I get you. You mean like, Dr. Phil. I don't want to be Dr. Phil.
Oh, Dr. Phil. That's a great idea.
All right, everyone, we're going to get away from the bad guy.
Do it. No. Make him the guy. Make him the new. Okay. The new killer to be put in the game should be Dr. Phil. That's an amazing idea. Have him going.
Clubs people with a weight loss book.
Oh.
I'm not an actual psychiatrist. Look out. Run. You have to get away
from him. You need to call your mother.
Yeah, you call your mother. Dude.
Oh, you do way better than I do. You call your mother.
That's amazing. What a great idea that is. But thank you. I hope everyone enjoyed.
Oh, that would be even better. The survivors are the monsters. So you play as Jason, Freddy Krueger, and you're the survivors trying to get away from Dr. Phil.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
It's like the horror is the wholesome person. Not a true wholesome person, but a TV wholesome. It's Dr. Oz, it's Dr. Phil.
Right.
It's what do they call them?
I hate all those guys. TV doctors are the worst.
Not a libertarian, not a philanthropist. What's the name for it? A dilettante, maybe. Not even a dilettante. Just somebody who's like makes it's important that they're known who they are, as well as and all this crap.
Yeah, people doctors I don't trust. Is that who you're describing? I think that's who you're describing.
Yeah, doctors and other TV self-help personalities.
Yeah. I don't like those guys.
That are sus. Super
sus. That's free on Epic this week, by the way. If you haven't picked up the PC
saw
version.
that. Yeah.
You just pick it up.
Super sus?
No. Among Us is up there.
Oh, Among Us.
I had somebody write me and go, "Can you believe it? They bought them and then immediately made it free." And I went, "They didn't buy them." And they're like, "Oh, I was thinking of the other one with the little running guys."
What's
that called? Bumbly men, running around with little men. What's it called? Whatever it is. The running one. That's the one Epic bought. And they did not.
Oh, Fall Guys.
Yeah, Fall Guys. That's it. Jeez Louise. Brian Dunaway in the chat. Hey, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
He's co-host on the second biggest video games podcast on the network. He's gonna hate that.
Way to place this on a list.
That was like some shade, but it's also kind of against your stuff.
Yeah, it totally is. I don't know, because he gets all worked up about it. See, he's laughing because he knows. We're always saying,
I gotta figure out a way to event. I gotta have our own Infinity War.
It's like we gotta be bigger than Core. I'm like, all right, let's go. Anyway. So there's Nemesis beef for you. Moving on, let's go to Microsoft confirming Starfield to be shown at the E3 adjacent Xbox Bethesda showcase, or that may actually be at the E3 thing. I'm not actually sure. Anyway, Xbox Bethesda, first time as a married couple, will present Starfield. A lot of it, I guess, is the talk. So we're going to know what that game is in June.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I want to know what the hell that is. Like, speaking of games that are massive scope space RPGs, Mass Effect, as you know, one that we were just playing, I would be all into their take on this, and have been pretty excited about this since they announced it. So we're gonna get a whole bunch more. And also,
I mean, they're an ambitious company, so hopefully,
right? But don't they sometimes make the announcement or the bigger part of the announcement and then release it like 6 months later? Like they're known for that at Bethesda. Wouldn't that
they're
be
not
cool?
going to do that with Starfield.
Oh,
They'll
that'd
do that
be great if they did, though.
No, they do that with the little Vault mobile game.
No, they did it with Fallout 4. They literally announced Fallout 4 at E3
No,
that
Oh,
year.
that's right. They did do that,
They
didn't
did.
they?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Fallout Shelter was the same announcement day. It was at the very end, and they were like, "And you can install it now," kind of thing. But
I mean, I think Skyrim was a year.
I don't remember when they announced it versus when they let it out.
Fallout 4 wasn't any good.
Fallout 4 was fine. It was fine.
It was fine. It was fine.
It wasn't. I mean, it was no New Vegas.
No, but I mean, it wasn't. We're talking Bethesda. Like we have Skyrim levels of expectations, right?
Yeah, that's
If
true.
it's just fine, then it's just fine.
Yeah, you're right. But I guess what I'm saying is, I don't think the timing. I guess what I'm saying is, I think they're working on things a lot longer before they announce release dates. So that's what that told me with four, which came out 2014 was the announcement. Came out later that year, and I was like, yeah, dude, just freaking loved it. And then John said it's not very good, and I said no, it is good, and then I forgot all about it. So
yeah, it's not very
sure, it'll be fine. The only worry if it's just Skyrim, but you you just fast travel between planets. But it's hopefully it's not.
Oh my gosh, dude, that would be
Hopefully it's not
bad.
That.
Well, I mean,
I expect it's Bethesda. I'm sure this is going to be an ambitious thing. I think we should just eat our hats and wait.
Well, what you just
stuff our hats in our mouth and wait.
Space pot over a space chef's head and steal all his space cheese.
Don't get me excited.
Yeah, like I hope it's ambitious, right? I don't want it to be like I sneak around corners and steal things, but it's a sci-fi skin. Like there should be high concept ideas, like remote control teleporting, stealing devices, or I want to see weird ideas from them.
It's supposed to be Todd Howard's baby, man. It's like the thing he's most stoked about ever. So I'm not saying that means anything other than it's ambitious, but we'll see if they can pull it off. And I'll be excited to hear it one way or the other. Like I really liked Outer Worlds a lot. The game made by who made that? The other Microsoft Obsidian, right? And they're the same dudes. What made Fallout New Vegas, my favorite Fallout game, and they feel very similar. And they are kind of just teleporting from planet to planet. There isn't a lot of space stuff in it. I can't imagine they're making something that's just a lobby of a space map and then you porting around to planets. It's got to be more, right?
I mean, there's a lot of games that are like that anyways, even Space Adventure, like just point and click ones from a long time ago, or, they're just kind of like that, right? They're instanced to like whatever you're doing. They're not very open worldy. I just sort of worry that I just don't want it to be like a Elder Scrolls formulation on top of a sci-fi setting, which is the impression Outer Worlds gives me. I didn't really play it that much. I played like the first hour.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping you get a ship. Maybe there's a bit of FTL in there. You can customize your ship. You can travel the stars.
Yeah.
If you didn't land on a planet, even maybe it's all space. Like because it's called Starfield, maybe it's all space shit.
Yeah.
Like what's that game? That classic game? There's like back in VGA times. It has a name. It's kind of like that. I was looking at it the other day, and
Star Control. Is that it?
Yeah, I think so. Or 2, Star Control 2.
Star Control 2.
One of those. Yeah, I think it's the 2 in there, but it's one of those games. Probably Star Control. But you know what I mean, right? Like it's space is the place, not really the planet so much.
Right.
Yeah.
So it could totally be that, but have the role-playing elements that Bethesda's known for. Like I think that's what I would be in the mood for.
Yeah.
Like a pretty
Make me a
decent
captain.
main story, but if you join the Space Thieves Guild,
like in Mass Effect, you're a captain, but you don't do any real space exploration. Like you highlight the planet, you play in a little mini game where you can land on other planets, but all involves landing on planets.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this like few episodes ago, but real space game.
Yeah.
This needs to be a real space game. I mean, that if I'm putting an expectation, it's that. I don't want Skyrim style exotic planets.
Yeah.
Like we don't need that.
I think everybody wants to make Star Citizen, and now it's just a matter of who's going to actually do it, and would Star Citizen even be the ones that end up doing it? Like, can you make a game that's so immersive?
I don't think Star Citizen's gonna be like that.
Well,
I think
that's
Star
what I'm saying.
Citizen's.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
Like
fake.
the promise of it, the promise of Star Citizen is what everyone's chasing, and whether or not
You're not gonna be a captain of a ship. You're gonna have your own little starship, and you're gonna do everything yourself on the ship. I mean, I'm talking about like you got a Normandy crew or an Enterprise style crew, and you're captaining your way through space, making spaceship encounters. Right? Bring them on screen. Beam over to the ship.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's a hull breach. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the Normandy popped up in No Man's Sky, and John went and earned that shit. Nice job.
I did.
Yeah, well
I
done.
had to. It was like a mandate from the "You're a Mass Effect fan" gods. They said you got to get this.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's part of their. We talked about it a little ways back. They started a thing called Expeditions in No Man's Sky, which was sort of a quasi multiplayer. You can kind of play it by yourself, but everybody kind of gets dropped at the same starting point, same starting planet, and you don't really go through the game exactly as you know it. You start with more, like you've got some stuff already unlocked, and they give you objectives. And for the first expedition that they did, it was very basic stuff. It was kind of like going through almost that tutorial.
Yeah.
This one was a little different. So you start on the planet, they plop you down, and they say, hey, construct a rover and start roving around the planet. And that's the first thing that you had to do. And you pretty much have the materials to do it right out the gate. Overall, it was not that hard of a challenge to do. It took me about 7 hours, according to the playtime that it had for me.
Yeah.
And it could have been done a lot faster, especially if I had used the guide rather than just trying to figure out my way through it myself. And it's neat. So what you actually get is in No Man's Sky, you can get a freighter in addition to your little space fighter ship that you're in. And as part of having a freighter, you can have a fleet of ships that you send out on missions to get you additional supplies. And the Normandy will join you as a fleet ship.
Oh, okay.
That you can send out and do missions. So it's not something you fly directly. It's not something that you board or go inside. It's a fleet ship that you command. But it's modeled beautifully. It looks great. There's a couple of fun inside jokes there. It's the original Normandy, and so when you look at the details for it, one of the little facts it lists about it is that it needs an aquarium, which the original Normandy did not have.
Yeah.
But all future iterations did. And there was just something really neat about, the end of this quest in No Man's Sky, because you're trying to find this weapon that you keep hearing about, and then when you activate it up in the sky, you just see this ship warp in, and you just see the Normandy warp in over the planet. And they actually have it programmed where it kind of just follows wherever you go up until you fly and inspect it. And so you just are staring up in the sky, and you just got this massive ship just in atmosphere floating above you. It was really, really a neat thing. It's not in the game forever. In fact, you have until the end of this month to get it. It doesn't take too long. And basically, if you do the expeditions, everybody's starting from the same point. So it doesn't matter if you say, well, I'm a brand new person.
Sure.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it. Like, you will be able to get it. The only thing that's a little tricky, and I have heard from some people, is the game definitely makes some assumptions that you're familiar with No Man's Sky. Like, it doesn't fully tutorialize you through it. It helps you, but if you've never played the game before, there's going to be some things it asks you to do that are going to be a little tricky getting it. But
Sure.
Yeah, so
it was
suck
a really
it,
cool
casuals.
quest.
Yeah, take that.
And the neat thing is you unlock this for all future playthroughs. So if I start a new No Man's Sky game, I can get the Normandy in that game anytime I want now. From now on, it's available to me. But also the expedition save, once the expedition ends, just becomes a regular No Man's Sky save.
Mhm.
And it's they give you a ton. I mean, I've got millions of credits, and I've got a ship that I've never had before, like all this stuff as part of it. And I can just keep playing off that save if I want. They're not going to take it away. So I think it's worth checking out to anybody that likes No Man's Sky and wants to get the Normandy in it.
The Wraith in the chat says you can also use the Normandy in your creative mode games after you've unlocked it. So it sounds like it might be in perpetuity in other modes as well. So that's cool. Yeah. Very nice. Very cool thing. You have time, everybody, like 3 days. So get in there and knock it out if you want it. Let's see. Oh, Uncharted 4 coming to PC, it looks like. Looks like that's happening. And that is a good sign, I think, that a lot of Sony stuff might end up there. I don't necessarily like how old 4 is versus its release date. I would love to see more games come out maybe a year after their PlayStation exclusivity. I don't know if that's going to be possible or not. But I really like the port of Horizon Zero Dawn. I really like the port of another game I played today, or am playing today, Days Gone, which I'll talk about in a minute. And I'm all for that. Uncharted 4 I liked quite a bit. I would be more interested in them putting some sort of their own sort of remastered trilogy together so that it was all a little bit more up to date so you could play 1 through 4 and get that whole experience. But I know people will take whatever they can get. 4 is a pretty awesome game, so look forward to that. Finally, what's this? Sonic? I forgot this Sonic thing happened. All right. So Sonic,
let's talk about Sonic the Hedgehog, Scott. Your favorite video game character and mine.
He's really the best ever. Look, I know there's a lot of fandom for Sonic, and I'll admit, back in my early Genesis days, played a lot of Sonic games. Seemed like, Sega's answer to Mario was pretty cool with his speed and his whatnot. These days, I just kind of roll my eyes when I hear about Sonic, but he's showing up in a whole bunch of stuff, including a new 3D game, a collection of 1, 2, and 3, plus Sonic and Knuckles, plus CD, and a remaster of Sonic Colors, which came out on what did that come out on? GBA? Whatever it was.
I think the Wii.
Was it?
I think it was like a Wii or not Switch.
Well, it definitely wasn't
a Wii U game. I don't know, one of those.
It wasn't Game Gear though, because that was they had a Sonic game, but it wasn't Sonic Colors. I don't know what it was called. Anyway, yeah. I also had a Game Gear. That thing had the battery life of a flea. It was terrible. Anyway, he's now guesting in Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Now you might think, wait a minute, what? No, this is like a serious sports game, Olympics game, with like fully rendered out looking divers and runners and javelin chuckers and all that stuff. But then Sonic's in it somehow. So that's
okay. Well, here's the thing. Hold on. I got to stop you, Scott, because you're missing some of the details.
All right.
There is some excitement to this announcement. So for one thing, if you know the weird history of Sonic the Hedgehog 3 specifically, you know that there have not been a lot of re-releases or ports of Sonic the Hedgehog 3 because Michael Jackson helped write music for Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Whoa.
And was famously very unhappy with how the music he created for the game was translated to the Sega Genesis and then withdrew from it. And as a result, there have been rights issues over the music in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. So it is very rarely ever ported on any sort of collection. This is a collection that's going to include that game. No word if they're going to do different music or what they're going to do. But that's part of what makes it so cool is 3 and Sonic and Knuckles are not often ported for because of Michael Jackson of all things.
Yeah.
It's a very weird story and a very weird history. People should go look it up. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's going to be in this collection. So if you liked Sonic the Hedgehog 3, it's very exciting. And Scott, I want you to click the link that I included.
I did.
I want you to see the wondrous thing that is this Sonic the Hedgehog in the Olympics thing. It is truly a spectacle to be held because it isn't Sonic the Hedgehog. It's a guy in a Sonic the Hedgehog suit.
Yeah. A fully rendered out. So what they did is they didn't put Sonic in this game. They put a guy in a mascot uniform that is Sonic. It's a skin basically, kind of. And it's ridiculous.
Hold on. I thought this had I think this had the video in it. You have to see the video.
Oh, where's video? There's video?
Sonic.
I don't see it in this
I'll
link.
find it. It wasn't in there. I looked at a bunch of stories.
Yeah. I want to see video. Yeah, it's not in here. That's unfortunate.
Oh, video here.
So they're still calling this 2020 Olympics, which is interesting because it got canceled, obviously. There were no 2020 Olympics, and they're still calling it that. which is weird because aren't there going to be something, right? Like a 2022 deal, or maybe this year?
Okay,
Well,
I
there's
got
a protest
the video.
going on right now.
Here we go.
They kind of don't want to have it.
Yeah.
Scott, you got to share this. This is truly a treasure. Like, there's a reason I wanted to talk about this, and 90% of it is this video right here.
Okay, there's an Xbox video. Let's see what we got. Copy link. I can't wait now. All right, let me get in here. Let me unmute it. Chat room, let's take a look here. All right, we got some.
Guess who's competing at the Olympic Games this year? It's none other than the blue blur, Sonic the Hedgehog.
No, it's not. It's a dude in a suit.
Dress up your avatar as Sonic and compete in 18 fun-filled Olympic events. Go for the gold, your style, in basketball, tennis, football, and much more. This is your chance to compete in this year's Olympics with your family and friends.
They have to do it.
Tokyo 2020 is coming to all platforms June 22nd and is available for pre-order today.
They have to do it. I'll tell you why.
Why? Why is that?
Because I saw they were doing the running event.
Yeah.
And if it was actually Sonic, like he'd win hands down.
No, you just
He'd be
whoop
there
him.
like you couldn't actually have Sonic do like a real Sonic, like, and then he wouldn't run fast.
Yeah.
Like he lost. Like how is he going to lose any of those events against humans?
Yeah.
You know, they have to dress. I think they had to do it because verisimilitude.
Yeah, and it's kind of better. Like John's not wrong here. Watching that, basically watching it like a
goofy,
serious
for sure.
event, and there's this dude in a suit is pretty freaking funny. So.
It's hilarious. It's incredible. They're also putting him in 2 Point Hospital, which, okay, that's weird too.
In a suit?
Well, that's not that weird because Sega published that game, so they already have like in that. I play that game. In that game, you can put arcade machines in your hospital to keep people occupied while they're waiting for their appointments, and those arcade machines are like, I forget. They're Sega games though, and so they don't play. You can't play them, but they got little screens and the graphics going. And it's got headers and everything, so they look like little arcade games. So it would not
this
surprise
isn't
me.
just the arcade machine, Scott. This is the people walking around your hospital and facilitating your hospital
Great.
will be dressed as Sonic the Hedgehog characters. Again, it's not Sonic the Hedgehog. It's people dressed up as Sonic. So you go in to see your doctor, and your doctor comes in a big Sonic the Hedgehog outfit and is like, all right, we're going to take care of you. Don't worry.
Yeah, but see,
Time
that
for your
makes sense.
chemotherapy. Why are you dressed up that way? I thought it would help make you feel better while we do the procedure.
You got to remember though, like 2 Point Hospital is people. There's a patient type that walks through the hospital that their diagnosis is lightheaded, and it's literally people with light bulbs on their head. Like walking around with their
it's
neck.
not real disease.
Oh, no. None of it's like that.
I haven't played it, but I heard that. Like
It's
they
all
don't actually
goofy
walk in.
and- yeah.
I just had a pulmonary embolism. Can you help me with that?
Yeah.
You know, like
So I guess
not
what I'm
real
saying
stuff.
is, as crossovers go, I actually think this sort of fits. I don't think that's too bad.
Okay, how about Lost Judgment, a Yakuza-style game, which is also going to be crossing over with Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, that's not
Although,
surprising at all.
in this one, it is exactly that. It's just going to be an arcade. They're doing an arcade port of a Sonic fighting game that you
Yeah,
can play.
are
I've been
they
playing
doing it?
Yakuza 0 and Yakuza 1. They have.
Why are they doing it though? What's the what is we
I've
have
played Outrun. Well, they have arcades. Generally, it's a mini game of the thousands of mini games in Yakuza.
No, I know that, but I'm
what's
saying
gonna
why.
happen here? Or it's
I'm
gonna be
saying
an
why
arcade
is
machine?
Sonic suddenly? Why is Sonic in all these things all of a sudden?
Because he's Sonic the Hedgehog, Scott.
Is
We're
he having a
celebrating
birthday? It's not like
his 30th
oh,
year anniversary.
all right.
He's
Now-
like their diet Mar. It's like, what's it like? You know, like if you have an old guy on your sports team that used to be popular and isn't anymore, but you're still trying to hype the crap out of him. Like,
Yeah.
it's like everyone's like, Sega, you had your day in the sun. Like nobody thinks of Sega like in 2021 like they think of Nintendo, but they still have it, so they feel they have to push it. You know? And
Yeah. Well, Sega as a
do.
publisher, they're very successful right now. They're especially their PC side. They do tons of money.
Yeah, it's not to say they're not successful. I just
Yeah.
put on scale, like we're not. They act like he's as popular as Mario, and I'm like, there's just no way. You know, like that battle was won, but what else are they gonna do? You know?
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Like
You're
it
not
has
wrong.
a legacy, right?
They've got a sequel to that movie coming, and that first movie was better than it should have been. And I don't know. It's all very middling, but I guess well done, Sega. Good job. You did it. You did it. You got Sonic where he needs to be in a suit, doing a long jump. Nice work. Okay. Well, that's all we got there. Hey, what if we had a Ken Burns style freaking Dear Martha, but it was from a review from Steam. Now, here's the thing. I can see the topic, and I'm already laughing inside, so I have no idea what to expect here based on what John has written.
I didn't want to miss this.
I know. This is going to be amazing. So let's get into it. Here we go.
My dearest Martha, today I present to you my review for the video game 3D Hentai Checkers.
Okay.
Strip Checkers. The game that every copy of Windows should have come with. Not too challenging, but not easy either. The mastery of the double jump is easy to accomplish. Photos have good detail. The final stage, in my opinion, should have a few more positions. All in all, probably the best checkers game I have ever played. What do I rate this? 5 out of 5.
Wow.
Would I recommend this game? Yes. To adults. Yours in this life and the next. Corniz Kit.
That's a great review.
That's a really great
That sounds
review.
like I should go look this up right now.
Yeah. We should give a shot. We shouldn't make so much fun of these games. Maybe 3D Hentai Checkers is...
I don't imagine Scott can show it on the live stream, though.
No.
No, don't.
No.
And there's also no hentai. It's like weird, like 3D models. It's not really hentai.
They're not photos. Like there's a Metacritic, a Steam link, and if you look at just some of the initial stuff, it's not like, oh, that's funny. If you Google it.
I mean, what is hentai exactly? I've never been sure. Like I know what the B word means, but the hentai
Google,
word I always
what
like.
is hentai exactly?
Yeah, a genre of Japanese manga and anime characterized by overtly sexualized characters and sexually explicit images and plots. Well, that's really broad. I thought it always had to do with tentacles.
You can
I'll
only.
stop there.
By the way,
And
you
other
can,
stuff.
Period. The end.
it appears
I just
this is-
assumed tentacles were always involved, but apparently that's not a requirement.
This is apparently only available on the German store. It's not on.
3D hentai checkers. Here we go. Boom.
No, it's saying
You probably
I got a
have
German.
your safe.
You have your
safety on.
filter on, which you would need to turn it off again, and then in another week you're gonna be like, "Why are they showing me porn games again?"
Right, but why
Oh,
did I
man,
get
this
that?
is-
Listen, this is for real. You guys are gonna. When I show you this, you're gonna be like, "What the heck?" When I went to go there,
It's
why do I
pretty
get this?
tame.
Why did I get this? I just put it in the thing. Chat room, you guys.
That's
can
it.
look at
That's the one.
yeah.
Oh,
Look at
Pejana Wergoven.
yeah. Did product bevet in hood digen neat will design? Like what? I'm not German. I don't know what they're saying.
Images of body nudity. 5 levels of nudity, from full dress to full nudity. For unlocking next level, you need win in checkers game.
Yeah, that's their description. And then look at the button to get in. Pagina Weirgiven.
Yeah, it says Pagina weird Gevin.
Oh, chat says it's Dutch.
And you little Ren.
It's
I think that's
Dutch.
just German for regular words.
Chat room says it's Dutch. I was wrong. It's not German, but whatever. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
maybe. Yeah, German would be more. Sorry, I can do that. I'm German.
Sorry, all the
Not
Germans.
racist.
That's fantastic.
I'm German. I'm allowed to. I have permission, right? That's how.
That's how it
rules
works.
work.
Yeah, that's my understanding. Is
I can do
Pretty
German. I
sure
can do
that's-
Hungarian. I can do Irish. They're all in my permission slip.
yeah, none of them are off limits.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I guess I don't have the rights to see this, but
And Canadian, I suppose, eh?
it's
Checkers
checkers
make
is
fun of Canadians, eh?
checkers is boring. Like
What's hentai checkers about anyway?
Checkers is boring.
It's so
I like
boring.
that you really got down to the crux of the issue with all of this.
Well,
It's like, look, you want to play some checkers, you want to see some boobs, that's all fine. But can we just talk about how checkers is a boring game and why are you playing it?
I mean, why
Yeah,
is
dude,
it
the
this
real
chess?
story is that it's not just checkers. There's a 9-game bundle for $11. You can get chess, 3D hentai blackjack, 3D hentai chess, another additional girls. Oh, okay.
Oh, additional girls for your chess. Got
It's
it.
all DLC. I thought it was so. It's just chess, blackjack, and checkers. But I mean, this isn't hentai.
No.
This is just like this is it's
Well, what's the
someone
definition? What is
made
the
porny
definition?
stuff in the Unreal or 3D Blender or something like that. Like,
Yeah, somebody got 3D Studio Max and went, I can make a porn game now.
Here's the
Exactly.
definition. You guys ready for this? Here you go. hentai, a style of sexually explicit comic books, animated videos, and computer games originally developed in Japan. A work of anime or manga or similar medium that contains sexual or pornographic art, plural form of hentai. What I take from that is it could just be sexual and not pornographic necessarily. That could be the deal.
Cyberpunk is hentai then. Like it seems too broad in my mind. I feel like tentacles should be required.
Well, you need the Japan part. That's the name.
Yeah, this doesn't have that. And it's not, I mean, like I said, it's
I guess
crude
not either.
3D models. It's not.
But I think
there's no art to this
we
hentai
classify things by words, right? So you can just say like it's a porn game, and then you think, okay, it's a porn game. But if you think hentai, then you think, well, there's some weird shit in here. And then, so if I just see a regular porn game, I'm like, well, you've misclassified this, at least the way we do it in the English-speaking world. You know,
I guess so. But
where's the weirdness? Why not just call it a porn game?
Checkers and 3D naked ladies, to me, is a pretty weird combo, to me. Like, at some point,
that's a different weirdness. Like, it's not a porn weirdness, it's a gamey weirdness.
You're right, you're right.
It's a combination. It's like eating Chinese food and ice cream like on the same plate when you go to a buffet. Like you have your Chinese food, then you go for the ice cream later. You don't mix the egg. You don't dip the egg roll into your chocolate and peanut butter ice cream.
Oh
right?
my gosh, that sounds so bad. That sounds so bad.
So that's what's like checkers and porn. I'm just like, I'll start with the checkers and then have the porn to finish off or something.
Look, everybody wants to reminisce about the days when they were young and dumb and didn't have a set of cards for strip poker, and they went, well, what other game can we play strip?
Yeah, strip checkers.
I got checkers.
Yeah, checkers.
Yes, I don't know. It seems just given all that's out there, they could be playing KFC porn or whatever. Like,
yeah,
not porn. What is that KFC game? KFC relationship.
Why
manager?
wasn't the KFC porn game called Finger Licking Good?
It probably was, and we just don't know it. And that wasn't a porn game. That was just like a romance novel.
You didn't make it far enough.
Usually those things climax into nudity and
Yeah, but not in that game. That game's a brand. That brand is not going to do that. It's KFC. It's not like
it probably does. What you do is you buy the game on Steam and then you download the extra content from the workshop. Like that's all. That's how all those games get around it.
Yeah, there's probably the kernel's code.
You got Subverse because of it? Oh yeah, I forgot about it. Did anyone play Subverse?
No. Dunaway almost bought it because he thought that'd be funny, and he didn't do it, I don't think.
He just watched the trailer and was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to buy the game. I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, I did. I'm
only saying that because I know he's listening.
I was going to subject myself to the horrible Colonel Sanders Lifetime Christmas special where Mario Lopez played the Colonel and all that, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to do it.
Once our paychecks come in there, I'll buy Subverse.
All right, let us know how that goes.
I'll stream it.
Yep, Bo's right.
I don't think you're allowed to, but you should. Yeah. Go ahead and do it.
Yeah, it's a video game. It's sexually relevant content.
No.
Okay. I have to stream it on Subverse.
Yeah, Subverse.com. That's how they get you. But you buy the game, then you got to stream it on their dumb service. All right, there's that. What else? How about some conversation about the games we played? We have talked at length about ME, Mass Effect, and we won't do any more of that. But I will tell you that the other game I played a bunch of and ended up really liking, and again, it's one of these weird ones. I played a lot of Pressure Washer Simulator.
That's a Scott-ass game. Yep. When I saw that, I'm like, yep.
That's exactly right. Game now, what's funny is this is a code that came from a developer that had heard somehow that I was into these and said, we think you might like this one. I also had a listener who sent me an email before all that and said, hey, you should check this out. It's a lot like House Flipper and, the stuff, these weird things you've discovered. And they were right. It's 100% that. It's also incredibly satisfying. If neither of you or anyone else listening to this has ever used an actual pressure washer on some really dirty cement or to get grime out of a tire or clean up an old barbecue that just sat for years after being used last and never cleaned, it is one of the most satisfying experiences in real life to use a pressure washer on things that are dirty. It's amazing.
Pressure washer. It's hard to say, right?
Pressure washer. And that's what they're doing here. They're like saying, all right, that thing that's so satisfying, what if we gamify it? That's just what they've done. So it's a short campaign right now. It's in early access. So there's more coming, but super polished, really cleaned up, easy to use and play, and looks great. and you do what you think. Like the first mission is go clean a van, and the van
What's
is
that on?
PC.
Steam? Or?
Yeah, Steam.
Well, like, what store? It's on Steam? I'm trying to find it. I can't find it.
Can't find pressure washer simulator. Hold on. Simulator.
I see Power Washer Hero.
That's definitely not it.
I
was it
love
Power-
that it's a competitive space.
I'm sorry. It's Power Wash Simulator. I keep saying it wrong.
Oh,
Sorry. Power
pressure.
Wash.
Because probably they also pressure washers. Like we can't. Power washers.
I keep screwing that up. I don't know. I've done that before this week, so this isn't the first time.
Power Wash Simulator.
Power Wash Simulator. So look at it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's like just
This is like that
grimy-
house flipping game. You were playing that house flipping game, right?
Oh yeah,
That was you?
it's a lot like that.
Yeah.
This is almost like. I mean, that game doesn't have this mechanic, but it's almost like you
No.
could see them making this as like DLC.
It's
for
in
a
that
game like
genre of game though, where it's like house assets and
Yes.
then cleaning stuff off the surfaces.
Yeah. It's very satisfying because if you've ever used one of those, it's like playing with a laser, and it can
I have.
literally rip your flesh apart if you're not careful. These
Yeah,
things.
you know, I remember getting that lecture from my dad. He's like, "Do not point that at anyone. Don't put your finger on it. It'll strip your skin off and
Yeah.
hurt you."
Yeah.
But I've used it before.
Now,
I've
here's
used the
what's
real
great. I haven't had the time to do it, but you can. Oh, they're showing it now on this video on Steam. You can pressure wash the Mars rover, so that's cool. And you know there'll be like a ton of DLC or workshop content for this thing. I'm actually very excited about it, and it just.
one. Move over, shipbreaker.
Well, I also played a lot of that this week, so to be fair, but yeah, I really like these kind of games, and somebody in the chat just brought it up, and sure enough, I did get a code also for a game called Castle Flipper, which is
Oh,
I
my
saw
God.
this and I thought it was a very clever idea, and I was
Yeah,
like, why
but-
didn't all of these exist before? What a time we live in.
I know. I love this weird subgenre that's like eking out. People discover new ways to gamify things and it actually working and not being stupid. I haven't played Castle Flipper yet, so I can't speak to it, but I do have it, so I intend to play that before we talk next week, and I'll have some sort of review.
Castle Flipper, Jesus.
But this is great because this has got all these nozzles on the car or on the hose, so you can change it out and be all laser fine, or you can do a broader stream. You can rotate your stream. Sounds dirty, but you can do all sorts of cool stuff with it. And I think it's rad. So I'm gonna for right now give a very tentative, positive thumbs up for Power Wash. We'll see how they do as they finish it out. But it's already pretty polished and runs great, and like UI is good. Like that's one thing I always look for in these games when they're in early access. Like how's their
This
UI?
is gonna sound sexist, so I'm gonna real quick clarify. My wife would love games like this because she comes up to me and is like, "Look at this," and she'll show me a video of someone like vacuuming a carpet,
Yeah.
and she's like, "What do you think of that?" And I was like, "It looks like somebody vacuuming a carpet," and she's like, "Yeah, but it's getting all the dirt and it's so satisfying." I'm just like, "Okay, great." She's very much into that, like, you know, that like where it's super dirty and then you just run the I might be a power washer on a carpet or something like that, I don't know, but
Yeah.
it is that thing where it's like it looks completely different and they just instantly clean it in one stroke and it's like, oh, look how amazing that is.
Yeah.
I guess I kind of get it, but I feel like I would wind up in the same place that I did playing The Sims, where it was like, I'm neglecting my own cleanliness to play a game about cleaning
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
I feel deeply uncomfortable about it.
It's a very odd thing to know that there's things in this office I really need to clean, but I would rather clean a fake Polygon truck. You know what I mean? Like that's a weird thing. For sure. I don't know where our mentality on this is. There's a lot of talk about that, but Power Wash Simulator, basically listen to this comment from PC Gamer. Lets me obliterate dirt into nothing, and now I'm more powerful than ever. The Verge says it's a feel-good game that will surely help someone relieve some stress in these troubled times. Yeah, it's just it's super zen is the other thing. Like there's no rush, there's no clock. You just power wash the shit out of stuff. And it's really satisfying when you clean a thing, it will go bling and it kind of make a big bright line around whatever it is, like a car door will go fling and like in blue light, and you know you've just finished that door. And it feels so good. You're like, well, I'm moving on to the tire now. Bling, got the tire. Moving on to the rearview mirror, same thing. It's great. So far, so good. Anyway, I'll try Castle Flipper next week and let everybody know what I think. Played a lot of Days Gone on the PC as well. Shout out to Joey Image, friend of the show. Gifted me a copy. I didn't know that was even going to happen. It was really nice.
Yeah, he's been going hard on the Days Gone on Twitter.
Oh, he loves it. He loves it.
You know, just every day this is a tweet from him saying like, "Days Gone is the greatest game of all time."
Yeah, for sure.
It's a game that critically was not received very well, or very tepidly, I guess would be the right way to say it. But a lot of people I know that played it seemed to really like it, and for the longest time it was just people whose opinion I didn't trust.
Right.
Now it's actually getting in the hands of some people that I do.
Yeah.
So what do you think of it?
I like it a lot. It's running beautifully on my PC. I only have one complaint, and that is one of my save files got lost between patches, and I don't know what happened there, and I can't find anyone else who can corroborate it or had the same problem. And it's not that big a deal. It's just a little bit of game time that I lost, but
You got Anthem Day.
Yeah, I got Anthem. But other than that, it hasn't been any technical issues. And what I like about it is there's a real... Here's what I think. I think the problem with that game probably, in terms of critic reception and or its place in the market, is that it coexisted on the same platform from the same publisher of the massively critically acclaimed series known as Back Off, Get Away. What's it called? Well, the game you love.
The Last of Us?
The Last of Us. Back off.
Back off and get away.
Back off.
No, it should be back off,
Yeah.
Get away. I think that should
that
be by
that
Naughty
art house
Dog.
piece. Back off, get away.
Yeah, back off and get out of here. No, it's like I think it just was always destined to have a strange place next to that when you're dealing with kind of some similar themes. But I really like it. The acting's amazing. I think it's some of the best stealth gameplay I've played in a while. So like sneaking up behind stuff and shiving it in the back of the neck feels real good in this game, especially zombies and stuff, but also people. And graphically, it's beautiful. The bike is fun to upgrade and get to new places and talk to Liam O'Brien at some camp somewhere. He's in this game. He's in everything. It's great. Oh, you know who else is in it? One of the guys at one of the first camps you run up against is the voice. I think he's one of the Critical Role guys. It's the voice of the wizard in Diablo 3. I can't think of his name.
Voice of who? Sorry, in Diablo 3?
The wizard, the male wizard. I can't. Sometimes I'm
Oh,
so
we've
powerful.
talked about this before, but I'm not.
I can't remember his
I
name.
don't remember
Not
who did
Cunningham.
the male wizard voice.
He's also in. He's in
It
a lot
wasn't
of
Travis,
stuff.
was it?
I don't remember. No, definitely not. But he's definitely. Well, maybe it is actually. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Point is, he's very much channeling that same vocal thing here, and it's just funny because I feel like I'm talking to the wizard again. But anyway, yeah, like I really like it so far. I'm not super far in it. Maybe, I don't know, 3.5 hours or something, but I don't know, it's kind of my jam. It reminds me a little of the Mad Max game I love so much, which is another open world game where a vehicle is very important and how you upgrade it and tweak it is a big part of the progression of that game. And that's a lot like this motorcycle. So it sort of just fits in that vein. The shooting feels good. The movement feels good. The riding around feels good. I think it deserves a look from people. And if you can get it, I think somebody found a deal the other day on one of the sites that's always doing PC Steam deals, had it as low as $35. 100% worth that to play it. So anyway, I just want to see more Sony games on PC, and I'm happy to be playing this one. So very cool stuff.
Does a motorcycle strike anybody else as the worst zombie vehicle?
I mean,
existence?
yes, but it's kind of all they have. Like the story
They ran out of everything else. They're like, we're down to motorcycles.
kind of like the other vehicles are really rare in the game. They've all been stripped of everything. And the motorcycles are just like, I think in some ways it's better because they are fast pickup. Like you can take off really quick in them, and they're great for weaving around and avoiding stuff. And the other thing too is a lot of people think that game is all about the mechanic or about the tech of having a million zombies coming at you at once. And it does have that, but it's not like a gameplay point. It's not a big deal. Like it's just sort of for a few key scenes that I've seen, it makes for a very impressive display, but it's not meant to be like a mechanic that you have to deal with. So I don't know. The bikes are bobby and weavy, and I don't know. I think it fits. Plus, everybody in it is kind of like a biker dude, or you came from biker dude before whatever the calamity was hit, and so you're you're scrapping away with your friends who are also biker dudes, and you're living up in the woods in Oregon somewhere, and I don't know, it's just got this vibe to it. I dig it. I think it's cool. I'll tell you more as I get further. John and I've been playing, and John's been watching and mocking me play Resident Evil Village, which we got through the castle the other day. We are doing it on Mondays and Tuesdays, although Tuesdays for the first two. I think it'll be Tuesdays is what we're going to do, because Mondays keep getting effed up for me.
Memorial Day is next Monday.
Oh, right. Yeah,
I don't know if you want to stick with it, but...
we'll do Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday's fine. But anyway, we're recording the whole thing. You want to watch me be an idiot and scream, that's great. Oh, I found the best scream so far, I think. This is going to be hard to beat. It's not super loud, Bo, so I'm not going to blow your ears out.
Okay, that's no problem.
Hold on. Where is it?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Is this it?
Give it to my ears.
No, it's Van. Hold on. Oh, here it is. Okay. I think that's the worst thing I ever said.
That was very quiet. I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything at all.
You guys didn't hear that?
No, I heard.
Oh, poo stickers. Okay, hold on. This whole time this thing's been off. Okay, let me play it again.
Oh,
That.
You're summoning.
But it's been.
I
so
did
far,
see the part where you got your hand cut off.
That was amazing. Perfect
that
timing.
Video.
Some
I tried
people...
to log and watch, but I caught you at the last 10 minutes when you were just. I think you're just looking at the boobies and the sculptures and going, booby. Booby.
Dude on Twitter says he thinks I made it up and knew the hand was about to get cut off. I had no idea. It was just
I mean, I get where that comes from. It's one of those things where I think I told my wife, I said, if I didn't know Scott, I would have thought that, because it couldn't have been more perfect timing. Yeah. But there is no way that you independently sought out seeing anything additional about this game, considering how you feel about the property in general.
Absolutely. Plus, I had understood that he, in 7, his hand was the the target of all sorts of maltreatment, and I had heard that he got banged up pretty bad with his hands again, and that the water mechanic was back of pouring it on his hand to feel better. That was it. And so when he got all gouged up and lost half of it to that lichen who chewed it off and it was bleeding all over the snow, I thought, oh, that's what they meant with the hand mangling. Okay, cool. Now he's down to 2 fingers and it's wrapped, and that's what they meant. I didn't see that severing coming. Nor did I see the idea that it would go through the clothes, through the flesh, through the bone, and that he would reattach the hand later. Amazing. Amazing. Ethan Winters.
Game's so dumb. Oh. It's so stupid. It's incredible how stupid that game is.
It's so dumb. But also brand new dragon beef. Here, let me play that.
Dragon
beef.
All right, new dragon beef. That dragon thing, the weird hybrid tall lady turned into a dragon and fight you thing. That's badass. That was really cool. So I'm not saying it's this is no MMO and we can't really compare it. But that was a cool whatever that was. It looked like a dragon to me. And it was...
See, and I think that looks like a Final Fantasy dragon.
Oh, is it the Rorschach of dragons?
I don't know what it is. It's a big flesh monster that can fly and with a lady popping out of it. It's not...
It's hentai.
Yeah, it's hentai. It's definitely hentai. Maybe. I did not like her.
It's like a video with that dragon and what's his name? Ethan Winters.
Ethan Winters, yeah.
That's hentai.
She sucks, dude. Having her chuck around the house, the tall lady. I hate that. I hate her. I hated her. The game's really good at all that stuff.
You weren't weirdly repulsed, but also attracted.
Not attracted at all. Zero attraction. Nothing about her made me go ooh, like the way the internet seems to be. I don't understand that. It's weird.
Maybe you guys can't talk about it. You're like both married, I don't know if that's a weird thing.
No, that's fine. I was just telling Kim today. No, the way I talk about Tally around here, my wife's like, "Who is this? And where do I find her?" Like, So
don't worry, it could never work. She lives on another planet.
Yeah. All I have to say is Jason Statham, and my wife, she probably heard me say it just now somewhere off. She could be a mile from here and she'll pick it up. So,
oh, really? She's into the J?
She loves Jason Statham. Oh, my gosh.
It's a weird choice.
If she could...
Not to be judgy about it, but, I don't... He has a peanut head.
He has a peanut head? Wait a minute.
Kind of. I don't know. He just doesn't strike... I mean... I'm making people like Brad Pitt, they like Chris Pratt, they like. I just never heard anyone say Jason Statham. It's a new one for me. I'm glad Jason Statham has a.
Okay, I'm looking at him now. Here he is for you.
We're talking about the transporter, right?
Yeah, well,
yeah,
that was a long time ago, but yeah, there he is.
I mean, he's a handsome man. I just kind of, I don't know. I guess what it is I've never heard somebody say, who does it for me is Jason Statham, right? You hear lots of other people. I just never heard that one.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's just a first for me, and I reacted shocked. It's cool.
I like it. No, it's cool. We're all square. We're all square here.
I didn't mean to be judgy.
Not at all. I won't even tell Kim. It won't bother her one bit. She just has a thing for him. I don't know.
Please don't. I don't want her to lower. She likes to ask about.
She likes you.
Stuff.
Yeah.
She'll stop asking about me, and she'll start asking about John.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, John. I don't give a shit about Bob."
She loves babies, and so points have shifted to John for sure.
And I'm a man baby. I see.
So but it's fine. You're still in good standing. All right. John, you got the Normandy. We talked about that. Oh, Bug Snacks. Where'd you play that? Is that on Epic? Where is that?
I got it on Epic a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got Bug Snacks, and I got it
like
on
an
the Epic
actual
store.
food product.
Yeah.
And Bug Snacks is a really fun game. Oh boy, how am I going to talk about Bug Snacks? Bug Snacks is weird. Bug Snacks is like watching the weirdest Muppet skit you've ever seen, and it goes a little darker than you expected it to, and you're a little uncomfortable about it. But it's fun at the same time. Like, that game knows it's disturbing. Like,
people compare it to like Pokemon. Is that a fair comparison? Just like a psycho Pokemon kind of, or no?
Sorta. I mean, the Bug Snacks just say their name. So if you see a bunger running around the ground, he just goes bunger, 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 bunger. Like, it's just what he does.
Yeah.
And they just repeat their names as part of what they are, which is very Pokemon-like. Yeah. And you have to capture them. But unlike Pokemon, you're not capturing them to feed them to people that you meet along your journey so that their limbs can convert into the food product of the thing they ate. Ugh. Like, that's the thing. Is like, the story, just to give you an idea, Bug Snacks, you are a reporter. Yeah. And you look like, again, a Muppet. Uh-huh. And you have gone to this island because this adventurer found a thing called Bug Snacks. And she says they're a revolutionary thing that's going to change the world, and you want to get to the bottom of it. Yeah. So you wind up crashing on this island, and you start meeting other people that inhabit this island, and they're like, Bug Snacks are great, but we can't catch them because we suck. And they're like, you should try and catch them. Maybe you'll be good. And so you see this little, like, the first one you get is this little strawberry with legs. I don't remember what it's called. And you capture it. And you give it to the guy, and it's got eyes, like it's a sentient thing. And he's like, you don't give it to him like, hey, here you go. And then they take it and do something with it. There's actually a button prompt to say, feed them. And the character just goes, and you have to watch this cute little animal food thing you just caught drop into their mouth. They will repeat their name, and it usually gets cut off by being chomped up by whoever you're feeding it to. And then the person goes, oh, and their arm turns into a strawberry.
Wow.
And it's really weird. And
do you eat your own hand because it's food again?
No, they just want more Bug Snacks after that. So they're like, I want...
If I ate a hamburger and then my hand turned into a hamburger, wouldn't I just eat my hand?
No, because they just want Bug Snacks. Your hand is now a burger. Well, so when he ate the burger...
a second burger!
But he didn't eat a burger, he ate a bunger.
Okay.
Oh, okay. But I mean, all right. I feel like I'm being... push your glasses up on your nose. You didn't eat a burger, you ate a bunger.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm just trying to understand like the logic of the world. So like when their hands turn into limbs, when their limbs turn into food, what keeps them from eating it? Like what are they? Is it because it's useful in some way?
I guess I guess they recognize the fact that they should keep their limbs in some form. Like they seem totally happy with it.
Do they use it for superpowers?
They just keep on living their normal life, except now they got dumb, like, weird food hands. And they're just like, well, all right. Oh, sure was good that I ate bug snacks. And then they wander off with their weird peg leg that's a French fry.
It sounds like the developers all got high, and then in the middle of being high, they were like, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" They're like, totally.
Man.
What if I ate this food and my hand turned into a hamburger?
Yeah.
And is that like there's no gameplay mechanics tied to the? Because I was watching the trailer while you were talking, and I was like, "What happens when their limbs change? Like, what's that for?" What is
So
that?
far, nobody's talking about it. There is one dialogue option where you're like, I think the first guy that eats something and his arm turns into something, you get the ability to go, like, your arm! But he doesn't acknowledge it. Like, that's your reaction. But then he's like, yeah, I love bug snacks. Why don't you go get me some more? And then you go and catch him more, and he changes 3 of his limbs, and then off he goes.
But
And
to what end? You don't know to what end yet, like why they're doing
they're
this.
hungry.
That's it. Okay.
They're all starving to death. Like, the first guy you meet, he's the mayor, and he can't catch bug snacks to save his life, and he's starving to death.
Huh.
So you feed him bug snacks to sustain him, and then he gets up, and then he's happy, and he's excited because you can catch bug snacks.
I
for
really
him.
thought that tonight I was going to learn more about bug snacks after all the talk about it being a launch title on PS5 and everything else. I still don't really know what the hell's going on. I don't
Okay,
get it.
so the game part is catching bug snacks. So, for example, bungers really like ketchup, and if you throw ketchup on something,
Loves ketchup.
so if you throw ketchup on something, it'll charge it, right?
Yeah.
And so you can't just walk up to a bunger and grab it. They're too wily. So
So far, it reflects the real world experience.
so you have to find a way to trap it in a net to get it so you can catch it. And so there are lots of tricks. Like, some will just walk around a path as long as they're on their own. So you put down a trap and you go and you hide, and then it'll just path through your trap and catch it. But some of them are more advanced. Like, okay, well, this one only hides in bushes. So if I throw ketchup on a bush, a bunger will ram the bush, and the bug snack I want will come flying out, and I can grab a shishka bug, and I can catch it because the bunger hit the bush. So it's all about these different ways to catch bug snacks.
It's a wily bunger.
Bungers, man, they're the best thing in that game. I love their name.
I mean, I don't know if I'm the only one, Scott. You let me know, but everything John says, I'm sexualizing in my head. Like,
I think you're
I can't help
supposed to.
it. It's just bunger and bushes and shish kebabs, and I'm like,
It does feel like the game is like you could hand this to an 8-year-old and say go have fun, and they'd have a blast with this. But it feels like there's some subversive stuff going on that only dad's gonna get. You know, like, I don't know. I
Yeah.
could be wrong about that, but
There's definitely elements of that. It's charming. It's fun. It's very light. Like, it's not trying to be anything crazy.
yeah.
There's a lot of characters to meet. You learn what they want. It pretty much boils down to bug snacks, but they also like other characters and don't like other characters, and there is a narrative going on in there. The bug snacks are all extremely creative and funny. There's like one that's a hot dog.
I saw a
And
rib-shaped centipede in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
Like
It's
red,
like
like
ribs with
barbecue
little
ribs?
legs.
Yeah.
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 yeah,
That's-
some are in segments. Some are like assembled. Like, I think there's like a scorpion that's made out of nachos or something
Yeah,
like that.
like you
But
do.
each piece of the nachos is its own individual bug snack. So you break it up and you can catch like it as a whole, or you can catch the individual pieces of it.
Oh, it's like a
So-
Constructicon or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. I think everybody should play bug snacks. I'm really having a
don't
fun
know.
time with it, and it's really weird.
You guys just don't get it, man. You all need to play it.
I'm the person who saw that trailer. I'm pretty sure, Scott, we have footage of you and me on an E3 watching it, and me going, what the hell is this abomination? And actually probably getting mad.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense. It's really weird. It flies in the face of logic, and it makes me angry. But then you get in the game, and you're pulling ketchup off of a plant that just grows ketchup for some reason,
Mm-hmm.
and you just look around and there's a little hamburger walking around on curly fry legs going bunker 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 bunker, and you're like, I'm gonna catch it, and then you do, and it feels really good, and you're like, well, this game's great and I love it, and I don't know why I love it, but I do.
Yeah, I can see
so
it. I'm watching video while you're talking. I can see this feels like something Nintendo would make, but without the weird psycho whatever. And part of me really likes that, likes that subversion that they're messing with here. So we'll see. It's coming. So I was just checking. Currently PS5 and Epic only, but it looks like they've got plans for Xbox and other PC stores as well as Switch. So that could be a fun Switch game.
Yeah, I think I bought it about a year ago because I think it was one of those Epic gave me a $10 off coupon, but I had to use it during their summer sale.
Oh, right.
Which I now have another $10 off coupon that I have to use during their summer sale, and I think Bug Snacks is what I bought like a year ago with that, and I finally played it.
Are they doing that right now? Is that the summer sale on at the moment?
I think so. Yeah.
I need to get in there and get my money, get my free $10.
I Bug Snacks, Scott. You should play it.
All right, Bug Snacks. It's on my list now. You've convinced me. Our next watch through with John on the other end will be Bug Snacks, everybody. Not true.
Bunger.
You also, do you have some thoughts on this Final Fantasy Stormblood business? I guess they made big announcements, and we kind of know that this is the end of all things. Not end of all things. This is a big crescendo moment expansion for that game.
Oh yeah, they did do their fan fest in between last episodes. I'm excited for it, but I'm still very early. I'm still on Stormblood. So that's the expansion that I'm on, their second expansion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not liking it as much as the previous expansion. I'm having a little bit of a harder time getting into it. It's still probably better than the default game, just the kind of vanilla experience. But it's one of those things where the ideas that it presents from a storytelling perspective are really like kind of deep.
Yeah.
Like you're not dealing with, well, Arthas touched Frostmourne and now he's evil because his soul went into the sword. Like
Right.
You're dealing with, hey, a country invaded us and killed everyone, and they then spent years treating us like animals to the point where even when somebody with a lot of power comes in and says, hey, you got to fight to overthrow your masters, what it's like to be a civilization that's beaten so far down that you don't want to go against these people that are literally slaughtering you because you're too, downtrodden by them. And it's like, geez, this is heavy. This is heavy storytelling stuff. And it's interesting, but it's not necessarily the most fun playing experience in the whole world. So I'm struggling a little bit with Stormblood. By all accounts, the next expansion that follows is one of the most amazing things ever created. But I'm still enjoying my playthrough on that game. And I did watch the Fan Fest, and that was a confusing but neat experience. Being this so far behind in the story, I didn't understand a lot of what they showed because there's characters that clearly are a completely different job than what I know them as right now. I see a character running around as a gunbreaker who used to be a rogue, and okay, that's fine, but I don't know how we got there. So, but there was a neat thing where the series composer confirmed that his cancer was in remission as part of the announcement of the Fan Fest.
Oh, that's great.
And that he had been
Nice.
for the past year been working with a kind of a cancer diagnosis, and that's neat. And it was this touching, heartfelt moment that like I was literally getting teared up, and I didn't know what he was saying. Like what I was watching was in Japanese, and I didn't hear the translation yet.
Yeah.
And just watching him, I was like tearing up, and I'm like, I don't even know what he's saying. I'm just looking at this guy's face as he talks, and just you can see the emotion and the love and the care, and him thanking the fans, and he wanted to announce it at this in front of everybody. That sort of thing is really touching, and it reminded me of all the things, like the reason we were talking about BlizzCon.
Right.
That's the stuff that these fan fests mean to a lot of people, and it was really neat.
I agree. I did do. There was also something about. So the guy. Sorry, let me back up a little bit. About a week or two ago, I was asking our little core group of people, Kyle and Kristen included, and then us four or us three. I was asking, hey, who's got some cool like violent anime recommendations for me? I want something like, you know, I don't know what I wanted. I just wanted something cool, Ninja Scroll style stuff. And Kristen or somebody had said, "Oh, you gotta." And maybe it was you too, but somebody had said you gotta watch that Berserk. You gotta see Berserk.
Yeah.
And so I started watching that. Well, in the last week, the creator of that manga passed away of some sort of embolism thing. It was awful, some kind of pulmonary thing, and took everybody off guard. So I guess the game director of Final Fantasy XIV got real emotional about that dude's death, and there was a huge in-game a tribute to him and all that stuff. I had no idea it was that big, that Berserk stuff.
Yeah.
That was a big deal.
The show is really kind of a springboard to read the manga, because like I mean I told you this when we were recommending it was, hey, just so you know, this doesn't have an ending. You know, it turns into one thing and then that's the end of the series, and it's like, surprise, it's over. The manga has been going on for a long time, well beyond where the anime ended, and so that's really what the story is what's in the manga.
Right.
And you know, it's something that a lot of people were very into, and Berserk is very cool. I mean, even before I realized that Berserk's one of those games that there's video games that came out in America based on the Berserk property that, you know, that didn't happen at a time where not a lot of those anime games made it over to our side of the world. You know, those were some of them. I think there was a PlayStation game based on it and stuff like that. So it was pretty influential even over here, even before it got big.
Alora for real in the chat says they based one of the jobs in the game on Berserk. It's probably one of the tanks,
so
I guess.
Real big sword, you know, and that was part of this whole tribute, was everybody picked that job and got out their biggest sword, because that's a big part of the main character, Guts. He wields this massive sword.
Yeah.
So everybody did that job and stood, and
it
was very touching.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm glad to hear that. Bo, still playing Yakuza. Oh, no, you started playing. Did you finish Zero, or what'd you do?
Yeah, I finished Zero.
Well done. That's awesome.
And I started playing Kiwami, but I think I'm done.
Why? What's the deal with why not?
I think I hit a level where I feel. So the game has a ton of side stuff, and the side stuff's kind of woven into the main activity in terms of getting these completion points, which unlock things for your character. And I just don't know if I can do 6 games of it. Like, I feel like I got my fill with the first one. It's too bad, because I'm interested in, I want the story, but like to around, beat things up, a lot of filler, and I just got to move on and play other games. I want to maybe play Mass Effect or something. Like, I can't take 5 months off to fit it. Like, it's gonna be a long slog.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna watch the movie on YouTube at some point.
I think that's safe. That's fine, because then, you know,
I mean, it's not good enough to be a movie, because part of the fun is like these Yakuza guys are really well acted. At least in Zero, they are, like the bad dudes. So you look forward to beating them up, and you know, it's part of the fun is the interactivity of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zero was quite good. But and part of my mind entertained the notion that I was going to 100% it.
Yeah.
But you get to this point where some of your completion points are like win 10 million in poker, and the poker UI, while it's like pretty, it's not efficient. You know, I've played I'm like, I'm just gonna play Poker Stars if I want to play poker. Like, I don't actually want to do this.
Right.
You know, you get to a certain point. So I was like, you know, and then the stuff I did do was like the pervy stuff and the racing, and I'm like, I just don't feel great about. I hit this threshold of like, I can't be running around collecting. Like, I'm asking the guy in underwear where the next hot woman is, so I can get a video of her to whack off to in the video club. And then there's this other game as Kiryu. I was it's this place called Telltale Boys Club.
Yeah.
Where you get on the telephone and call girls, and you kind of try to talk them into dates.
Yeah.
And you kind of get like, one's an older woman, and you're like, oh no, and you take life damage, but you still have sex with them anyways.
Wow.
And then one of them's kind of just like, you know, a nerdy girl, and you're like, oh no, and she's like, oh, you love me, Kiryu, but you go to the hotel anyways and have sex with her, and you lose health.
Yeah.
And you're trying to find these hot ones, and all the responses, they're just so bad, and I just felt so kind of gross trying to, you know, 100% it, which I ended up finishing the Telltale Boys Club, all the sub stories in there. And then I got to a point where I'm like, I have to be done with this. I just need to see the ending and get away from it. Because the main story is like not about any of that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Did you finish Zero, John? Do you know the ending?
I watched a playthrough of it. I didn't make it to the end. I think
Okay.
I was still in kind of the first. I think I got to the introduction of Majima, and
I mean, yeah. So Majima, what I'm understanding from playing now, I started playing one a bit, right? Which is that's Kiwami. It's the remake, which is actually not remastered. It's like Kiwami means extreme, so it's just I think it's a really souped up version of the PS2 version. Because it feels like I'm playing Yakuza 0 pretty much, like, and it has all the same side games, and that's why I was like, okay, I am not doing all the racer shit and all the mini games again to get money or experience points to do the thing. I can't do this.
Yeah.
But Majima he's basically the Mr. Shakedown. Like, you know, in the first one, there's this guy,
yeah.
Mr. Shakedown. He's this big guy that beats you up for money. And so there's no Mr. Shakedown in this one. And there's experience points in one. So 3 of the trees are opened up by experience points from fights, like RPG style. But one tree is only opened up from beating up Kojima. And he's a wacky character. So there's this, you know, the game has these long dialogues of blah, 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 blah. So you sort of explain to him, like, look, Majima, I don't want to fight you unless I have a reason to. And he's like, then I'll give you a reason. So you walk down the street and you get this weird phone call. And he's like, you get a hint of where he's at. So then you approach him and he shows up as a police officer. And he's like, you better not be carrying any weapons. And I'm like, oh, don't worry, I'm not carrying weapons. And he's like, well, that's a disappointment. I don't have a reason to fight you. So then you equip some weapons. And he's like, you know, and like, he's not even a police officer. He's just dressing up as a police officer so that he can fight you. And then you fight him and you win and you unlock skill points. So he's kind of just this recurring, like, crazy character, which is so different from Yakuza 0, where he's actually kind of this, what would you call him? Like, he's quite a pimp. He's like a Japanese version of a pimp, like, but an actual sweetheart, I guess.
Club owner, and he's got.
He's an actual sweetheart.
Yeah.
Part of this whole sub story is you're really nice to these girls. You try to build up their self-esteem so they can do their work, and then you sort of defend. Like, that game is very like Disney princess-ish. You know, you don't hit women. The heroes are all like, you don't hit women, and the guys, some of them are literally called like misogynist prick. I think was one of like, he didn't have a name. It just said misogynist prick under his name. And he'll be like, oh, you're an ugly girl. You'd be lucky to have sex with me. Why don't you come with me anyways and have sex? And you're like, you don't talk to her that way. And then it starts a fight and you beat him up, right? Like, it's all, you're saving, you know, you're the knight in shining armor.
Sure.
But his story was really touching and nuanced in that way, at least. You know, you can kind of viscerally get behind the experience.
Yeah.
And you kind of learn that the whole crazy thing is a little bit of an act.
He snapped. I mean, he gets manipulated the whole way, and he sort of snaps, and he's like, nothing matters, so I'm not going to act like anything matters. And so he becomes a crazy person. It's cool. But by the end, there wasn't any big payoff. There wasn't any revelation. It's just like, okay, the bad guys are revealed. You beat up the bad guys. The end. So I'm actually don't have high expectations anymore. In spite of the fact that the story is well performed, that we're talking about Mass Effect or, you know,
sure,
yeah, the high level of narrative. So I don't know. Anyways, that's a long answer to say it was great. I feel like a pervert now, and I don't know. I don't know that I recommend it necessarily. Dive in if you want to see what it's about. But
well, the nice thing is, like, this is a good example of, so you pick up Zero, you play it, you beat it, and you have whatever feelings you have about it, and you're like, maybe I'll move on to the next one. And you didn't really have to invest much in it money-wise. So you could just fiddle with Game Pass and say, yeah, not for me, and not feel like you got to, like, really fulfill that Kazumi or whatever the new one is, or the other one is.
I didn't buy all 6 games or 7 games and go, well, I better play them. I just dropped $500 on the whole series, right?
Yeah, which is kind of cool. Like, that's, I don't know, that's a thing we don't get to talk about much, but this feeling of, like, not having to really dive in on a thing you don't love because you spent 60 or, you know, 80 Canadian on it. I don't know, it's kind of nice.
Yeah. I mean, there's that time investment, but that's where I said, like, when I'm invested in this, I spent a lot of time. But, you know, I'm chasing, throwing good money after bad situation, I think, at this point. I'm like, I think I'm done. Yeah.
How do you like in that Skate 3, that retro awesome
skater
game?
That's the fun thing about Game Pass is that they have all these old. I'm like, I never really played. I dropped the Tony Hawk whatever entry.
Sure.
I never actually played Skate, and I'm interested in. I haven't pull the trigger on it. There's a skateboard game. I think it's Ultimate Skateboarding or something.
Oh, right.
On Steam
on
or
PC.
Skater XL.
I have that somewhere. I think it is Skater
Yeah, I was
XL.
gonna pick it up on sale. I have it wishlisted. I'm waiting. It seems like it's good. So, but I'm like, oh, in the interim, let's, it's what's nice about the Xbox. Just a quick download. Let's see what this game is. And I ended up, I think, playing way more than I anticipated because it's open world. You just like you could be watching Netflix and go like, I'm gonna play a bit of Skate, and then you just swap over to Skate with quick resume, and then all of a sudden you're just skating around.
Yeah.
And then 2 hours goes by, and you're like, I should get out of bed. Like this is only supposed to be a 15-minute. I want to come in and do a few kickflips and grinds, anyways, Skate 3 holds up quite well for an Xbox 360 game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good. My son played it a ton when we first got Game Pass. He wouldn't stop. He just played and played and played. Love that.
The skating mechanics are interesting. They're definitely going more for the simulator style of things, which I appreciate. Tony Hawk is kind of ridiculous with the moves aren't one-to-one with anyone does in real life. And I'm not talking about the crazy ledges or anything, because that's there in Skate 2. I mean the kick flip to nose grind to, tail slide, blunt slide, 360 flip, manual, like 56 move combos that happen. I'm like, there's no skater in the world that can do any of these things. So this, even though it's still like video gamey and pushing those boundaries, it's more realistic. And the stick movement's really interesting. You don't use buttons to do the tricks. You flick the joystick.
Oh,
so to ollie, it actually reflects the act, because I've skateboarded, so I know the movements. You got your pop foot, and then you kick up with the other foot. So on the controller, the way to ollie would be to hold it down on the right joystick, and then snap it up really quickly up, and then you'll ollie. But if you kind of mess it up, you mess up the trick, and then it's not as good. So there's this kind of fun mastery element of doing the weird controls in it. So I'm having a blast with it. It's really good.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like is the decidedly of its age, or maybe I don't know. Like I skateboarded a lot, but we never talked like this. Maybe it's a California thing, but everyone's like, "Hey man, sick moves, bro!" Like it's just overdone with the like. Yeah. I'm like, we don't need to talk this way to enjoy skateboarding. Like, it's just really heavily marked. Like, how do skaters talk? They talk all slangy and cool, and it's just like it's cringe to the.
And they kind of when you listen to actual skaters talk, there's definitely slang of the era and even today, but it's not like that. Like the games get it wrong. They try to.
Yeah, they overdo it. Like it's really they next level it, and it's not natural. I guess.
Like, have you ever heard Tony Hawk himself actually talk? He sounds like us. He's just a dude. But it's too
and they might
easy
say,
to go,
"Hey, that was awesome, man!" But some of them are like,
yeah.
"Sick moves, bro."
Yeah, I hate that.
They're just like, "Oh, dude, gnar! That move was so gnar or whatever. Yeah. Gnar so pitted, so pitted."
Gnar, gnarly's too many
Well,
syllables.
gnar is a surfing thing. I'm sort of mixing it. I'm just thinking of that meme.
Yeah, but isn't gnar gnarly? Is that the point of that?
Yeah, I know there's gnarly, but I think gnar is like a surf term for like the wave or something like that. It's from a different thing. I'm crossing the streams here. Okay. So, sorry.
Hey, whatever it takes.
I know Egon said to never cross the streams, but I just did. So.
Yeah, they did. He did say that. He's a good guy.
Anyways, it's great. So if you're looking for a fun game to spend 10 minutes in, but then spend 2 hours in, Skate 3 on Game Pass is pretty good.
Excellent.
That's a good
I got to move on from all that.
Yeah, well, don't worry. Hey, look at this. We got a quick email from listeners. talktothecore@gmail.com. That's talktothecore@gmail.com. It came from somebody named Luke who lives in Utah, I guess. No, I don't know. He just says, Utah, get me too, which is a joke about the surf movie. Speaking of surfing, called... It's got your Keanu Reeves in it. Point Blank. There we go. I knew it was there. I just had to reach in and pull it out.
That's interesting. There's a Point Blank and a Gross Point Blank.
Yeah, Gross Point. Or no, sorry.
Point Break.
Point Break. Not blank.
Oh, Point Break. Oh.
Gross Point Blank is one of the greatest films ever made. If you've never seen it, Gross Point Blank.
I haven't seen it. I need to watch that.
Oh, I love it so much. And also, it couldn't be more perfectly timed because it's. When that movie came out, I was exactly John Cusack's age and the character's age, and celebrating the 10-year high school anniversary or the 10-year high school reunion at the exact same year as he was portraying it in the film.
Wow.
So everything about the music, the timing, the age of everyone, all of it, 100% my life. It was great, except for the killing people with guns and silencers. But that's an amazing movie. Oh my gosh. Bo, you got to watch it, and then we got to talk about what's his name? Ray. Ghostbusters. What's wrong with me?
Ray. Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd. We have to talk about Dan Aykroyd's character, this guy named Grocer. It is the greatest character he ever played. Period. I'll fight anyone to the death if they say anything else. It's the greatest character that Dan Aykroyd ever did. I'm so excited you're going to watch that. You got to watch that, and then we got to talk about it.
Where is it streaming? Apparently it's on Disney.
Oh, really? Up there it might be. Down here, Disney doesn't do anything rated R down here.
It says Disney.
I don't know how they do that. I hear this all the time. Disney's got all this rated R stuff everywhere in the world except in the States. And on Disney Plus, you don't get any of that stuff.
Yeah, I got aliens and stuff in there on the Star. Isn't there like a Star thing? Like aliens, and I'm worried it's edited because some services do that. Like Netflix has a weird version of Community. Some of the episodes are from TV and not the actual episodes.
Oh. Well,
but I'll check it out.
Watch that movie. It also features a non-existent but totally working for the film anyway version of an arcade version of Doom in a convenience store. All right.
Was there an email that we were going to read?
Yeah, I was going to read this email. Sorry. Okay. This is from Luke. Luke says, "Greetings, gents. I found myself in full agreement with Scott regarding the lack of appeal of WoW Classic. I'm paraphrasing, but Scott essentially said, been there, done that, don't need to do it again. Show me something new." That's exactly how I feel. And then I see on Twitter, Scott is diving pretty deeply into replaying Mass Effect. Like Scott, I'm not sold on WoW Classic. I'm curious if Scott can sell me on Mass Effect Remastered. Well, hopefully, Luke, you heard a bunch of the conversation earlier. The thing with Mass Effect is, yes, I had done it, but I hadn't done it all, number one, because I didn't do the first game back in the day. And I didn't really give 3 the playthrough I should have or meant to. Fell off of it in ways I didn't mean to. So in a lot of ways, this is basically playing 2 again with different bread on both sides, because I never really gave those things a shot. But secondly, it's also a finite experience. It's not a giant open world where, my progression's tied to a level cap or some sort of weird end game or any of that. It's just a story. So it's more like a movie, like a long ass movie that I get to watch again and I get to interact in, but I get to essentially see the story play out again. Very different, I think, than.
Yeah, I was going to say that was my chief thing. It was like, wow, you're going to spend tons of time in.
Yeah.
It's like I've watched Community 6 times now. I've had 6 rewatches. It's my Mad Max Fury Road.
I know you love it. I love it too. You're not wrong to love it. It's great.
And you don't watch it all year. It might be a year goes by and you're like, I'm due for a rewatch. So that's basically the Mass Effect.
That's it. But also there's this other part of it, which is on purpose. WoW Classic, which now includes Burning Crusade WoW Classic, is a accurate graphical, technical representation of what the game was then. That's what people want. They want it to be janky and old.
It's not in the Unreal Engine.
No. But whereas this Mass Effect redo is a beautiful rendering of an old game. Like, it's gorgeous and in HDR and fast frame rates, and they fixed a bunch of shit and it just runs like a dream. It's very nice. So that's the other big difference. I don't know. To me, it's just like apples and oranges. I just can't compare them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's people out there that are like, well, that's the reason I like WoW Classic, is it's like reading a book again or watching a movie again that I really love. And if that's what you get out of it, that's fine. But I think that's where my problem is too, is kind of what you said. It's an open world. It's this big, expansive thing, and it's going back to exactly what it was, and I was there. And, there's some people that never played Classic WoW or Burning Crusade, and this is their first time through. Totally get that.
Awesome.
I get that there are people that it's for.
Yeah.
But to me, playing through Mass Effect again, even if I do the exact same decisions that I did the last time I played through, which I'm actually shocked to find that is not the case, even though I'm not doing it intentionally. Like, I remember when I was younger, I punched that reporter that was asking me all those questions that I didn't like. And for whatever reason, playing through this, I thought I would punch her again because I remembered that I did. But I never felt her questions were so off the wall, like pushy, that she deserved to be punched in the face.
Oh
And
wow,
I
really?
ended up not punching her. I was just like, hey, I gave my Paragon answer and it was real nice, and
Sure.
that seemed to be fine. And so it's interesting, our tastes change, and getting to go back to it, I would compare it to reading a book I really liked again. And I just don't get that with certain games. Like, that's not going to be applicable to every single game I ever play.
Especially a game I see as a living game. So for me to go back to a previous corpse of it feels like that to me. Like I'm just playing a dead part of the game. A game that
There's
isn't
stuff.
supposed
There's
to be
stuff
alive.
in class. Like it's fun going back to not Black Fathom deep depths.
Yeah, but you don't want to do it. You don't want to really fully commit. And that game
I ran it once. I'm not gonna run it. I don't want to play WoW Classic the way you would play an MMO. But it is fun to re-experience the hard version of Black Fathom Deeps or Wailing Cavern again. Just for that novelty, I will say that I found that enjoyable. Just
Yeah.
the finding a group, everyone chatting. There's something about LFR that has killed the social dynamic of going to find people to do dungeons with.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
It's like it's processed food. It's like it's not that good for you. Like we know that it's not that good for you. It's full of sodium and preservatives.
Yeah. Changes
The way you process things. You should eat actual meat or foods.
Yeah, but in this case,
But processed food worked just fine.
In this case,
No
they
one
got to
dies
do the
from it.
thing that keeps people spending their money the most, and what did that was ease of use and convenience, and that's
That's
I mean,
that's
Bo
the
and
business
I
versus the
played,
artist.
yeah.
Bo and I played a few hours of WoW Classic together, and it was super fun. I got
We-
pretty much all
we-
I
We
wanted
did
out of
dumb
it.
stuff together. We didn't.
Well, yes,
we
but
didn't run any
that to
dungeons.
me, like that's an MMO to me. Like what we did, that's my favorite stuff to take away from an MMO. I think that one of the biggest problems, this is getting bigger than this email should be, but one of the biggest problems with MMOs is so many people get such a linear experience from it. When if you really get down to it and you ask players like, hey, what are your favorite moments from an MMO? I think most people will have these great organic moments of things they did with friends that wasn't about like, oh, this quest line was really cool, but it was about, I remember the time Bo and I were both rogues and we just traded off backstabbing farmers to go steal pumpkins together.
We figured
in a
out how to
field.
kite and not be a hunter, basically.
Yes. Like it's gonna be dumb stuff like that that stands out as like the moments that I like. Like I got a fond memory of WoW Classic, and it's because I ran around doing dumb stuff with Bo. It's not because WoW Classic was this amazing experience that could never be recaptured except in its classic
I
form.
totally agree. All my memories are like that. And one in particular, I don't know if Dunaway's still in the chat. He might be. But one of my favorite things in this planet, he's never really gone full in on that game. But when we would
Is
play
this character
together,
still dead in Wailing Cavern?
well, see, there you go. One of my favorite memories is
I've never really talked to Dunaway, I think, ever. But from all the times you've talked about in the instance, I know, and maybe you've talked about it with him on Morning Stream, that his
I'm sure we
character
brought it
left
up.
his character dead in Wailing Cavern.
Yeah,
It's
so
still-
here's how it went. We were in Wailing Caverns. We were running the thing. It was his first experience in a dungeon. He's a Tauren, and his big dumb cow is up on the ledge of somewhere going, what's over here? And falls down a giant chasm, a hole, and dies from the fall. And it was too much of a pain in the ass to go down and get him, and he had to log out or something. And so we just left his corpse there, and we left the dungeon, got finished the last boss, got out of there, and that was the end of it. He quit the game and didn't come back for years. And when he did, his body is at the bottom of Wailing Cavern still. Like, I'd probably put him outside the front door, but the point is, like,
Yeah.
he left him there, which is the dumbest thing. But John's 1,000% correct. Those are the things I remember the most. Even the most scripted moments, like taking down the Lich King, had nothing to do with actually taking him down. It had everything to do with this exuberant, exhilarating, crazy group experience we had doing it. And MMOs are my memories of those games. I don't have the schedule to do that again on a game I've already played at a time I already played it. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. My major deciding factor on Mass Effect Legendary Edition, the push me over the edge part, is that it was completely, or not completely, but remastered at such a level that it does feel like a modern pretty well made, still looks great kind of game as presented in this format. And I've gone back and looked at comparison videos, and it was a little rough back in those days. And even if you've forgotten, you should go look at these comparisons. Like they'll do the side by side, here's PS5 and here's PS3, and or here's 360 and here's Series X, or here's PC and old PC or whatever. And it's a notable difference, a jump in fidelity. That's what pushed me over the edge to say this is worth my $59. So, and Blizzard's not doing that with Classic. The whole point of Classic is to look like shit, because that's what it looked like, and it looked great then, but now it doesn't. And some people long for that. Thumbs up to all of you. It ain't me. I don't want to look at old stuff. I want to see new cool stuff.
It's a different thing. Nobody's harassing Mass Effect for having bad balance, or BioWare for balance issues to the extent that they do for Blizzard. It's a whole other ballgame with Blizzard and balance.
Now, if there was a, Mass Effect MMO, then they'd have to worry about those things. What I want for Mass Effect, I was thinking about this the other day, is make me some offshoot stories with, Shepard and the original crewmates and all that, and make me basically a Gears Tactics game. I'd play the shit out of that. Like, give me a XCOM style, Mass Effect universe style game, and give me some space combat that's turn-based, and give me some ground combat that plays a lot like XCOM. You got money day one. I would buy that game.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Especially after, Gears really surprised me with how good Gears Tactics is. I just think I used to have a problem when games would jump genres. I don't anymore. I always look forward to it now. So anyway, video games, they're great. And so is emailing us. Send us an email. Scott, no, that's not the address. talktothecore@gmail.com. I don't know why I said my name. talktothecore@gmail.com. And as always, don't forget, we're supported by your good graces there at home. Literally, we pay the bills and keep the lights on because you support us at patreon.com/core show. Every episode, there's a bunch of bonus content you can't get any other way than that, and you can join for as little as $1. Like, how ridiculous is that? So go check it out, patreon.com/core show. All right, before we go, I'd like to throw it around the table and see if anyone's got anything really interesting to say to close this out. Bo, any final thoughts to blow our minds?
Shepard.
Nice. I like it. Shepard. It's perfect. What a way to end a very heavy Mass Effect episode. John, any final words?
I tried that chemical thing on your foot that makes all your skin fall off, Scott.
Yeah.
And I'm at the stage where I've used it and I'm waiting for the skin to fall off. And I gotta say, it's high anxiety. Like, it's weird. I've put my foot in a bag, and now I have the same feet that I had yesterday, but I know in about 6 days all my skin is gonna fall off, and it's terrifying.
You're gonna love it. It's great. It's my favorite thing in the world because when it comes off, it doesn't hurt, and it's in giant slabs, and it's super satisfying. Start your own YouTube channel. Is what I'm saying. Hey, also, here's what I would like to say at the end of the day: not all tentacles are hentai, but all tentacle porn is hentai. Wait, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Play checkers.
I think you really nailed it, and your pronunciation of hentai will really.
I'm sorry,
describe the point.
Hentai.
I don't know.
It's he's using the Spanish version.
Cartoon people getting it on is not my jam, but
hello, everybody. I'd like to have a serious conversation with you today about hentai.
Clearly, I know all there is to know about
this nacho dip is muy hentai.
Meaning it has tentacles. All right, that's it. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back with more next time right here on Core. We'll see you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.